Council special meeting and town hall meeting, August 7th, 2025, Civic Center, Tazewell Avenue. Could I get a roll call, please?
Newman present.
Holloway present.
Buckholz present.
Buda present.
Grossman present.
Ashworth present.
Let it be known we've established a quorum, and if we could please rise for a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So we're going to start off with public comments tonight, if anybody signed up. This is just for the agenda for the comments. Anybody that wants to speak during the town hall, if you want to wait for that portion of the meeting so that you don't have to speak twice, that would be wonderful. So if we have anybody signed up for public comments.
Nobody has signed up,
All right, do we have any letters?
not for the regular public comments.
All right, that was the first. Okay, special meeting order of business. Trinity Unity Methodist Church lease for the town offices.
Pops can speak.
I'm not ready yet. I was waiting for comments.
Wow.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. This item is to authorize the town manager to approve the lease of space at, right next door at the United Methodist Church for town administrative offices. This would allow an interim move of everybody in town hall, except for the police department, over to the church. The police would stay there, but they would get better digs too. They would move upstairs out of their cave now, and then have additional room for storage and that sort of thing. So it's for approximately 4,700 square feet. It's kind of a unique space. It was space that was previously used by the Cape Charles Christian School before they obtained their building. And it's all ADA compliant, fire alarmed. We would have to outfit it with IT and some service counters and that sort of thing, some minor improvements to the facility. We've been negotiating with the church and the real estate development firm for probably over a month now. And I think we've arrived at a nice lease, a good compromise, decent rental rate, and there is no comparable size space available within the town limits. So we are recommending approval, authorization of the town manager to go ahead and execute that lease. There's a couple of minor tweaks to the language we still need to make, but none of it is of any consequence. Questions?
I had one, and I think you know the answer, but you said minor changes. What I saw in the wording is that regardless of what changes we make, we just turn it over at the end. We don't have to restore it back to the original condition.
That is correct. Yeah, it's all it is typical lease, room sweep clean. That's it.
Right.
How much are you expecting the cost will be to move and put in
We're still
Technology.
we're still working on that. I know you saw an estimate in the work session of $100,000. We think it's going to be less than that, but the staff is working with our IT vendor on that, and we've already been in contact with, or I've been in contact with a local contractor that would do the service counter work. But I hate to throw out a number, okay, but I think it will be substantially less than $100,000. And some of this stuff on the IT side, I think, Katie, some of our servers are pretty shot anyway, and we would be replacing those, and then hopefully we would move those to the new facility once the new facility is built. And we're working on some free labor for moving. Katie's going to contact the sheriff and see if we can get the inmates to help. It's a day out maybe a couple of days out.
Has the church ceased to convene there? Are they going to continue? Are we leasing the entire facility?
We're not
or-
leasing the entire structure. We're leasing most of it. Excluded from the lease is the sanctuary and the fellowship hall. Everything else we're leasing. They're not completely out of it. They have a very small congregation left, and the lease does allow them to continue holding services in either the fellowship hall or the sanctuary. For the summer, they've moved over to the fellowship hall. They do want to move back to the sanctuary in the summer.
The fellowship hall is where we had our last meeting.
Correct. Correct.
And would the spaces be blocked off? I know it shows here that there's doorways, but would those be exclusive to
Yes.
our use?
Yes, yeah, we're looking at security measures to do that. There right now is an open passageway between the fellowship hall and the new section that would be gated off, and then we would have security measures on the doors.
And we've confirmed, the subsequent years are escalated at 1.5%.
1.5%.
That's even if we go into a third year?
Yes, it's in the lease,
That's it.
1.5%.
Okay.
And the option years also have early termination provisions, so if we have to go to month, we can do that after the first 2 years.
Okay.
Great. Anybody else? No other
So,
questions?
yeah, so the police are gonna stay in the,
Yes,
are we gonna address any of the health issues in there to help them out?
in where?
The current place? I mean, just one of
I'm not
those-
aware of any
Well,
personally.
you've been talking about it, that's why we're doing this.
Well, it's not health, it's safety. It's not,
Well, there's also some health issues in there too. That's been going on for a long time.
as I said,
And I'm not the only one that knows about it, am I?
I heard there was black mold.
Yeah.
Is that
Right.
correct?
But the police,
well, if there is, we'll take care of
That's
it.
why
It's just,
Okay.
it's
I
just.
just wanna
the
make
police
sure,
are mainly gonna stay down in their offices where they are. They're
No,
gonna just
they're
expand
moving
up.
upstairs, aren't
well,
they?
that's what I'm talking about, upstairs is the issue.
Are they gonna have their offices downstairs as well and then just move to have more space
The police-
upstairs?
No, they're gonna move upstairs.
All of it?
Yeah, they're gonna, they have a whole bunch of filing cabinets in the garage now, so they're gonna vacate that space, they're gonna move all the filing into the current space that they occupy, and they're all moving upstairs. And there'll be some additional improvements made to that building.
So the number of 100,000 that you think we're going to come in under that, does that include the police moving
Yes.
any retrofitting to their
Yes.
space? Okay.
They'll need a new front door. Right now, we have a wholly inadequate front door. That has needed to be replaced for 20 years. And so, we're gonna get them a new steel door, that you'd find on a police department. There'll be maybe a little work upstairs. They've got plenty of room to expand, stretch out upstairs.
Well, I just wanna make sure we look into that, because I don't wanna,
If there are areas of mold, we'll take care of it.
And they will have a plan for ADA accessibility, because that's one of our big issues with that, so we want to make sure,
Police, and then,
if they're moving upstairs,
no,
they're, know what?
it's inaccessible.
Right, I know, but they're going to have some kind of system. Right now, we have a person,
So Bob, if somebody from the public needs to meet with the police, where's that
Well,
going to happen?
they'll meet them down in the lobby, just as we do now.
and how will the public know to, like, I'm asking, will they have
They'll
some type of
They'll have an
ability?
intercom there, the front door will be locked,
Right,
so they'll have an intercom that'll be posted in.
Same as their door is now going
Right.
into town hall.
Yeah, it's just that it'll be moved to the front door.
right.
So if there's no other questions, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Mayor. I move that council authorize town manager to finalize and execute the lease of the space for Trinity United Methodist Church in accordance with the lease as presented with minor changes.
second.
Is there any other discussion?
Yes, I just want to make sure that, Rick, you're comfortable with this lease, you're happy with this lease? Okay. Just making sure that's out there. This is what you want too? Okay, super.
Anybody else? Not hearing any other comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, the motion carries.
The staff will be very happy.
Yeah, thank you, Bob, for all your
Thank you.
work getting it ready.
It's been a long time coming.
All right, next order of business, reappointment of library board member. Who's handling that one?
Yeah, this is gonna take a long time.
The library board, they meet monthly, and we have 6 members serving 4-year terms. Last month, you appointed Karen Mahaffey to the board because, and then the second one is going to be vacant. Now, Ms. Diane Davis, she's been on the board for over 20 years, and initially, she was wanting to retire from the board, but I've heard that other members of the board have spoken to her, and so now she has changed her mind that she is agreeable to continuing her service. So we're very delighted that she's going to stay on board, and so she needs to be reappointed for another 4-year term.
Fabulous. Is there a motion?
And when she knows she's not here.
No, she's not.
I move that we appoint Ms. Diane Davis to another 4-year term to the library board.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that? Not hearing any. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. All right, moving on to the Community Development Block Grant Opportunity for Harbor and Railroad Area Conceptual Master Plan and Area Design Guidelines.
And I don't want to jeopardize our IT stuff here. I think you can sort of see the dates. Okay. Just in case someone got the light there.
Oh, for the sound.
Well, this is what it is, so I don't know where I'm going. There it goes. Okay, can you hear us, Michael?
I can. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Great job.
Yay. Okay, on the screen is Michael Zahner from the Berkeley Group. As I told you at the last meeting, we've been in conversation with the Berkeley Group to come on as consultants for us for this project in a planning capacity, and we are still working with them and negotiating various scopes of work that, depending upon our conversation tonight, we'll be prepared to come back with you with the final price and contracts associated with that. So with that said, and we want to give him the chance to hear this, and I think he may wish to comment a little bit if you would entertain his talking in as well. So, at last month's meeting, we did talk to you about a planning grant that is coming open, or it is open now through the state at this point, the Community Development Block Grant, which we felt was really applicable to get us kick-started on working on the planning necessary for the harbor and railroad area, both in developing a master plan, looking at design guidelines and changes to our ordinances associated with that master plan that we would be looking to do. And then also, because I think there's been some conversation over the years about what would eventually be ownership, potential ownership of the railroad property, potentially even by the town. So we wanted to put all of that kind of into the mix. But most importantly, I think what we need to do tonight is a couple of task items that we've outlined for you. And it was referenced at the last month's meeting that we should have some conversation to make sure we're all clear as to which properties would be involved in any study area that we're doing. So we do have a map up here. I hope it's visible. I know we gave you little smaller versions for you to look at as well. I know initially when we talked about this, and I think that's where my brain has been, is still with anything that is Canoni Atlantic owned railroad property is the focus of the master plan piece with some ancillary wraparound of the harbor properties that come with it. And I say that because under our current zoning, the railroad has always been zoned industrial. I won't say current. Prior to December of 2024, the railroad was always industrially zoned. And there really was no plan or vision beyond that. It was just the railroad and could operate as the railroad. And there really wasn't tons of review that needed to happen because it was one of those exempt uses as well from much of our local review. With the whole railroad being disbanded at this point in the town of Cape Charles and everything being removed and stripped, Canoni Atlantic is making moves to determine what will happen with the property after this. I think it will be sold. As to who would be selling, be the purchaser when it's all said and done, we do not know. We could potentially be the purchaser, depending upon what you as the council wish to do on that end. But we now need to actually get some really good plans in place, zoning in place, vision for the area, what we'd like to see happen there. And I don't mean it has to be very, very line specific, but it needs to give an overall concept of how we would like those 42 plus acres to potentially blend and serve as a complement to our community. So I do want to focus first on looking at all the property around this area and make sure we're having a clear conversation and identifying which properties should be included in this study area that we are doing for master planning purposes. So I will kind of open the floor to use as a whole to kind of walk through. I did do this in themes, in the color themes. Red is all the Canoni Atlantic property. Sorry. Just so I have this for the public, I don't mean to block you, Libby.
That's okay.
So yes, we have 3 parcels that are Canoni Atlantic. I am going to break those apart a little bit. Yes, the 42 acres is the largest area around the harbor, and it is this area for the public to see that as a whole. And then, of course, they have another parcel. I'm calling it 2A and 2B. It is right now still one parcel, but all of 2A is what is the rail trail development plan that's going on right now. And that does include where their parking lot trailhead will be for parking purposes for that trail project. It has not been separated out, but I've just kind of shown you that, yes, that will be coming into its own entity, an own disposition to the rail trail. That trail piece is about 19 acres. They have what I consider, I don't know if it's a remainder parcel. I really don't know what Canoni Atlantic's intent is with that remainder of that parcel. It's about 10 acres. And it kind of is squared off once you peel off the rail trail piece. And I know I've heard some interest over the years during our strategic planning that might be serve some purposes for the town along the way. And so I wanted to kind of mark it out separately in case Canoni is considering selling that piece as well. I do
Is
not
that
know-
2B?
Yeah, that's 2B, and that's about 10 acres.
Baseball field.
So I'll stop there and open conversation on the railroad properties first. And are we all good that, yes, at least 2B and 1 are all in? 2A does not need to be in because it is the rail trail. Am I
Did you
hearing
hear you
that?
say that 2B is the baseball field?
Still, yeah, still a baseball field.
Okay.
And where they dump, a couple hundred railroad ties that's been bumpers.
Okay.
What's the property right below 2A? Who's it owned?
2A is owned by the
No.
Virginia Port Authority. That's
Okay.
the spoil site
Okay,
when we're dredging.
Right.
okay, that's federal property.
Yeah, so when I'm looking at the railroad property, when we're talking about this 83A3A9 piece, which is a big component, it's minus the portion that fronts Mason Avenue.
Like Strawberry Plaza? Is that what
No.
you're talking about?
No, we're talking about when we
I
rezoned.
won't say it's minus that piece. If it's still owned by Canoni, it would be considered part of
Okay,
the
and
planning.
I'm
piece.
offering that it should be taken out because we had rezoned that into the historic area
You're correct, we
along
did.
Mason. Okay,
Right.
so when you talk about that particular property, I always envision that the entire parcel minus the strip that goes up, since
Okay.
it's dual
So
zone.
wherever we included it to be in the overlay for the historic district, you don't wish for that to be any
That's
further
me,
planning?
yes.
Correct,
Yes.
too, right.
Is that the basement you're talking about?
Yeah.
I can't remember the size of that as far as deep, how deep, right?
Yeah,
But
it's one.
the depth of it.
120,
It's not.
120, I think. What's our stand?
120,
It's
yeah.
120 back.
Okay.
Yeah, we went down to
Pretty
the
much.
120 feet back
Yeah.
from Mason.
Yeah,
It's up a
okay,
little bit.
To the
great.
home.
Alongside,
All the way up to the hump.
Right, to the home.
Correct.
From the silver bullet down.
yeah, the silver bullet, okay, alongside the gravel parking lot, is that right? Okay. Now, does this area include the gravel parking lot? Is that what I'm seeing? And then that's the train?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the other component there was the 90A9, and I'm not sure how we got here, but I voted. We called it a PUD. And I don't recall how we didn't call this harbor commercial, and we got ourselves into a PUD. There is no PUD there.
You put it in as a PUD, as a placeholder, basically. The PUD designation is a placeholder, and for whoever chooses to purchase and develop this parcel, and even that stuff, even the rail trail, would have to come back with PUD
Right,
designations.
that's right, but we don't typically designate something a PUD. We have a district named, and they have the opportunity to come back and offer for a PUD.
It's because during our deliberations a year ago, we decided that we really weren't comfortable putting it in harbor, commercial, a residential development. We really wanted a PUD designation so that it would force a developer to have to come to us to figure out how to actually use it with a concept plan. That's what the PUD will make
Okay.
make that happen up front.
Yeah, but that PUD can be used down into the other commercial
It could,
area.
but again, we couldn't figure out how to actually pull this apart into that sort of thing, so that's how the rest of the railroad property, which is its own, there are two parcels that make this up, came into a harbor commercial zoning. Because we felt that was an easier, if it got developed, not by the town being the owners, but if a developer should come in and purchase directly from the harbor, we are more comfortable with development following the harbor commercial zoning district than anything else.
All right, so my opinion is the commercial aspect and the PUD needs to be considered in,
Into the planning process.
that's right,
Okay.
So you're saying 1 and 2B
right,
should be both?
right, minus, again, the,
The little piece,
Got it.
okay.
Okay, so then I wanted to kind of walk us through all the rest of the properties that are around the harbor. And I'll start with the blue, just because that is one owner. And so we'll start with Cape Marine Services. They've got 4 parcels that are over there, which is parcel 3, 3A, 3B, and 3C. So basically, this is the yacht center area and the associated parking areas where boats are at this point that they own. I know that's really hard to distinguish on your map on my individual areas. But if you're looking, if you know where the yacht center is,
Yeah.
I want to make sure everybody's okay here. Across the street is where all the boat parking is happening, that large parcel over there, which was for many, many years ago, was the former wastewater treatment plant location for the town. And then as you come back to where their office is by the yacht center itself, and they own the parcel next to it, which again, there's boat parking occurring on that parcel, almost to the water's edge, but not quite. That's theirs as well, and then they own the little strip as you're going out from Hook and Harvey. Hook and Harvey is its own parcel in and of itself. It's a 5,600 square foot parcel that was subdivided off several years ago. But as you walk along that bulkhead area, that dock area, that is also under Cape Marine Services. Everybody clear of their property?
all right, so before you leave there,
Yep.
my thoughts were, the only property that is right now harbor commercial is the Hook and Harvey property. The others are industrial.
They are doing light industrial, but they're also doing a little bit of commercial. They're selling some stuff through their...
I'm just saying,
their
right now,
office.
zoning-wise, that is now designated, and what I'm trying to remove on all this discussion is anything coming out of the light industrial or industrial categories. And I would say Hook and Harvey is sitting there by itself, and I'd leave it just the way it is. And
None of this is saying we're going to change the zoning on it if it's included in a planning study.
I understand, that's what I'm saying. I don't need to have something planned around Hook and Harvey right now. It's doing fine just the way it is, and it's enveloped by industrial. And I'm saying industrial shouldn't be included.
Should not be included in a planning study for the harbor.
Correct. That's me.
All industrial?
No, just around that particular area. But
So
yes,
right now, we're
I'll
just talking
say-
about the Cape
Oh.
Marine
Okay,
Services
all right.
property.
Yeah, let me back up.
Okay.
We're talking specifically there, but yes, in general, I'm saying all industrial needs to be removed from the master plan. I don't need to be talking about coastal precast or any of those properties in trying to redevelop what's going on there. I'm looking around the harbor, and that's what I'm trying to limit our scope just to the harbor commercial properties. That's why I took Hook and Harvey out. They're commercial, but I don't need to further develop. Like, what's also included is the hotel, the Northampton Hotel. I don't need to touch that. I don't need to study anything more around that.
Except I just want to correct something, Paul. I'm not
Okay.
picking a study area based upon zoning.
Oh, I am.
I'm picking it just upon location.
I know.
That's all I'm doing is location.
That's correct.
So,
And
okay.
I've looked at the locations, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Right.
I don't want to expand this harbor to what it was in 2006, when we had it zoned much broader. But that's an opinion. That's all I'm on.
So you just
We're really
think
not
this
changing
should
anything
only
over there.
focus on these two pieces, is that correct?
So I'm
No,
gonna
there's
ask
this
us to
other-
step back for a minute.
Okay.
Does everybody understand what a master plan does? I do want to make sure you understand what's the difference between a master plan and zoning. Everybody clear on, because they are two very distinct, different things that we're trying to do here. Master plan is a vision, and it is helping us to articulate a vision and potentially a look and features that we would like to hopefully one day see around the harbor. For example, one thing that could be done is, that used to be in your last plan, was a walking trail all the way around the harbor, from one corner to the other corner.
Right.
It doesn't mean that that's going to immediately come to fruition, and there could be impediments, and it may take 50 years for that to be effectuated, if at all. But it puts the vision out there. So I want to make sure everybody's clear what the master planning process is. And I hope, Michael, if you want to jump in for a minute, if you want to tackle anything on this as it relates to master planning in your concept, in your world.
But that vision does bring the industrial back into it, for sure.
Yeah, good to be with you all tonight. Michael Zahner, Director of Planning and Community Development with Berkeley Group. And it's an exciting opportunity, obviously, that you all have. A huge chunk of property, impactful to the town. And I think that's generally what a master plan would look at, is what is the future vision for any of the property that's studied. You know, if we're defining it to one property or a few properties, you know, we're certainly going to look at that property in the context of what's going on around it. You know, and it may be that existing uses that are allowed of any property that's studied, those are seen by the community, by the council as something they want to continue forward with into the future. But it's not something, you know, ultimately at the end of it, you know, we hope that we have a set of recommendations for a vision and how to affect that vision for the use and development of the property, or maintaining the current use of a property, and seeing that continue to be sustainable and successful into the future. So, you know, whatever properties you want us to look at, we're going to, you know, we're interested in doing that, and it's, you know, a different lens perhaps with existing developed property, existing zoned property, based on whatever, you know, your policy and goals and objectives are.
Katie, when you said the kind of the walk around the harbor, I've always envisioned that starting over at the love sign, kind of coming around. So I think in a master plan, I would want that to include the complete walk, and that's
Maybe we're
not.
just talking about all the parcels that we need to discuss.
Okay, all right.
So
Well,
we're
I
right
thought
now just stuck on
number 11 was
The little corner.
that lumped into the ones that Paul was talking
No,
about, so.
that's still what we
That's
discussed,
coming, those
right.
are in the
Okay.
black. So again, I've themed these in a way, so I'm just focused on talking about 3 through 3A, B, and C at this point.
Okay,
And I'm
gotcha.
not saying I'm advocating for them to be in, I just want to make sure everybody is on the same understanding of what we're trying to achieve here. So you're right, different zoning districts, and we want to keep them that way, meaning our light industrial or heavy industrial, but it still doesn't mean that they can't be part of the greater planning, if
Right.
that's what you want, just so it's articulated in a document so the community still agrees. Because there has been contention, I'm going to pick on the concrete plant for just a minute. there has been contention over the years, we should get rid of the concrete plant by some citizens and visitors to our community. And I think there's been a clear statement from the council over the last 5 years, clearly since I've been here. We are partners and we want to retain the concrete plant, and that is part of, and has always been part of the fabric of our community. There's no harm in making sure that is clearly articulated in a document of our master plan of something that we're calling the Harbor Railroad area. That's all I'm saying.
And if I'm not mistaken, it keeps it a working harbor.
Yes.
Having it. Yeah.
But keep going, Paul. So I think we're still trying to get direction from
Well,
everybody.
you're talking those small properties, really the harbor itself that we own, all right, 83A3, A10, that should be included, certainly.
So again, I want to get to each of these, but I want to make sure we're hitting each of them in order.
Go ahead.
So
Go
we're
ahead.
getting a yay or nay from you as a whole. Are they in or are they out of this master planning service area? What is the land that we are asking to be included in the master plan area?
All right, well, if you're talking Hook and Harvey, I'm saying they're out.
Well, Hook and Harvey is a different one. I'm asking
That's
just
where
to.
you are, you're down in that area.
Well, actually, Hook and Harvey is in black and it is number 4.
You're
Sorry,
doing
purple,
3A,
wrong.
B, and
We're on
C.
3ABC right now.
Yes, we're on 3, 3A, 3B, and 3C.
That royal blue, not navy.
I know it's hard to distinguish the colors. There's only so many I could do.
Is there like an example maybe that would help clarify, going back to your earlier point, where you may keep the zoning the same, the concrete plant still exists, goes on as it is now, but how a master plan would somehow impact the way that they do business, or that the way, I mean, what would be the
It
point
won't
in it?
impact the way they do business. It is just articulating, this is the vision of the town, this is the direction of the town for a 20 to 25 year viewpoint.
Right.
And so, yes, we have our comprehensive plan, but part of it, we've articulated in the comprehensive plan, is that the council will be doing a master plan for the Harbor Railroad area.
Right.
And so I feel that we are somewhat with a gap in our planning and visioning documents for the community, because we basically said in our comp plan, this area, wait, because we're going to do a study for it, and we're going to do its own master plan. So here we are trying to figure out its area, but now we're carving out pieces that really weren't tackled in the comp plan. So where will it get
Yeah,
reflected?
And the
That's
current
all.
master plan's out of date. The current master plan for the harbor is definitely out of date.
It is, because actually there was direction in 2021 from Mr. Bennett in particular, who put the motion on the table. I can't remember who seconded it. Stop referencing that document.
Yeah.
Archive it. It is no longer effective.
Clayton, that goes to you.
It's still posted on our website.
It is, but it is called an archive document, because I still need to reference it from time to time.
I personally think,
It's called archived, and it says that.
I think that 3A, B, and C need to be included in. It's part of our master plan. I mean, it's there. Not including it, that doesn't make any sense to
And it could
me.
be as simple as saying, we're gonna reaffirm in the master plan, it's always going to be harbor light industrial.
Right.
And there's no intention to change the zoning
Right.
associated with it, or any zoning changes to the harbor light industrial.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna examine what we did in December when we adopted the full zoning ordinance.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so can we make a motion to vote on it? Because I'm not going to vote for it.
No, really? I didn't know how you
Well,
felt.
you're going to have to ultimately walk away with what is the scope of this study.
Are we voting on, is she asking us to vote on each number? in
I'm
this
going
order?
to ask so that the scope of this study is,
I think we get through all the numbers first,
okay,
and then
so,
let's go back, and if we need to do it individually,
let's
so
talk
be
through
it,
every
or we
parcel
can do it
first
all at
before
once.
you start taking votes then.
Okay.
Okay,
Does
so
everybody
then
agree with that before we go?
Yes.
Okay.
Your next two over there, number 4 and 5 are in a light purple, as best I can tell, or maybe it's a blue when it's printed or copied. Hush Hush LLC, that is actually the corporate name for Hook and Harvey. And then, of course, and that, as I said, is 5,600 square feet. And then the U.S. Coast Guard, again, because I'm putting all the property owners over there, it's in at 2.2 acres as well. Any questions, comments on those two? Okay, the next one is 6, it's in green, and that is the town property. And again, that's the north side where we have most of the parking, the bathroom's over there, the harbor office is over there. The shanty is leasing property from the town, but the town still owns it. So that is that whole area, number 6. Questions, comments? Okay, then moving down, so I'm going to hit number 7, 8, and 9. I'm going to kind of talk to together, I think. So though 7, 8, 9 were part of what was called as Cape Harbor Holdings, and so if you looked at the county GIS at this point, you're going to see those still named that, and kind of in this 8 and 9 are definitely still showing as one parcel. There has been a subdivision that's been approved for that parcel. So I've shown that, I've kind of drawn that in to show you where that is. And parcels 7 and 8, as part of that subdivision, we're going to be deeded out to Cherrystone Investments. And then parcel 9 was going over to Virginia Marine Equipment. So basically there were several entities who owned Cape Harbor Holdings. They have segregated those holdings and they're going into those respective partners' hands. Okay? And then number 10 is Cape Charles Properties LLC. That is Coastal Precast Systems. That is their property. That's the concrete plant. And then the last one I'm going to reference is number 11, which is on the north side of the harbor, and that is Cape Charles RF LLC. And that is just around, can't read my numbers.
8.17.
8.17 acres. And again, that is owned by John Kemp under that name. And if I didn't say it earlier, John Kemp also owns Cape Marine Services. So he has holdings on 2 areas of the harbor. So now that we kind of walk through all the parcels that could be included in a study area, which ones do you want?
Can I ask a question? Someone said something about the Northampton?
Yeah.
Where is that in here?
See that little blue dot?
Yes?
That's it. And it was carved out
It got rezoned, they petitioned for rezoning from the town to harbor.
30 years ago.
Yeah, many years, several years ago.
That's a long time.
So they're part of 11, number 11?
No.
they're
They're
not.
They're zoned. They're zoned.
Zone that way.
They're zoned that way,
They're
thank
zoned
you.
harbor, they're not considered, I'm not
Part of-
considering
okay,
part of
that's
this
what I was
harbor
confused
master
by.
planning
Okay,
at
good.
all.
Good,
Because
good,
they
good.
are
That's what I was
across the street
confused
on
by.
Mason Avenue.
Yes, that's why I was confused. Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
I mean, should we just go down? Clayton, start us off.
I
Which
guess
ones do you want to include?
I'm trying to understand how to be as mad as Paul. It's like, I don't
All right, let's
understand.
start this way. Karen, go.
If it's only to just, if it's part of a master plan, like this is our master vision for the harbor, which does include every parcel on here, it may just essentially be a paragraph that says all commercial industrial property on the south side of the harbor will continue to remain as, I don't understand why it's detrimental to include everything. Like, is there some like monumental cost that we might incur by saying, look at the whole harbor? Or, I don't understand the reason not to say, give me the whole menu. There is one, let me know what it is.
For me, it was cost.
Okay.
So now, it could be incremental, but
Right.
for me, it's cost, and I don't need to spend time looking at what 8, 9, and 10
Right.
are
So
gonna do.
I would have thought we would get to like a process when we begin this process with Berkeley where we say, you know, just to be clear, our vision as a council, if that's what it is that we keep things as they are currently, and that please write that into the plan.
There absolutely will be those opportunities. So part of this is, yes, we wanted to refine the areas we're asking them to study. And when we negotiate that, you know, the scope of work and the contract for that, we are envisioning certain work steps that will be, yes, a meeting with the town council again to really articulate and review this whole area. And let's hear what's happening on the property, what do you see as your vision for the property? And then, of course, there will be a community input level as well. But yes, there will be a conversation of the Berkeley group with the council.
So Katie, on that point, if we include it all, but back to Paul and Clayton's point, we leave it zoned exactly the way it is, but in the vision, we'd like to see this path go around. And that's the only part of the vision we want in this study of these 8, 9, 10, 4, 11, whatever.
You mean the walking path?
That's even if we want that, who knows?
I don't know if we still want a walking
I'm just
path. I
throwing out
don't know
one
how
thing.
viable
I'm
that
saying
really
that
is, if that's intended to be
No, I don't think
light
it's-
industrial.
I don't think it was ever intended to go all the way around. Quite
You're missing
honestly,
my point.
I know.
You're
I
missing my
think-
point. My point is if we give them the marching orders, that it's staying the way it is zoning wise, they're only gonna look at different plans that we have for those areas, like adding something to it. Can we do that? Is that part of,
Yes, because again,
that's the only point. I'm
the
not
master
saying-
plan is
Right.
again focused first on articulating what is the vision you see for this. So I'm gonna ask you, from a light industrial standpoint, what further development would you like to see happen on the south side of the harbor? And I'm not asking you to really tell me all your answers today, but are you looking for warehousing? Are you looking for, or would you be supportive of more businesses that would be for boat repair, that would be for heavy, some supplemental business support to the concrete plant and their operations and the products they're producing? What if it was more shipping opportunities, not just of boats coming in and boat repair and storage of boats, but shipping opportunities, because the port gets too full over in Virginia, across the bay, and maybe this could be a mini little port for some things to be stored here, to be shipped out of here. I don't know if any of those are viable over here, but I'm just throwing those things that could happen under your light industrial zoning, and maybe somewhere putting in a plan the types of things you would be supportive of trying to encourage happen on the south side of the harbor.
I don't think we should be doing that tonight, quite honestly. I think
Not
we
I
should-
feel like that
tonight.
would be part of the actual
That would
That's
be
right,
the-
because we gotta reach out to the stakeholders to find out what's going on with their property
And
and
that's,
what they
that's,
envision.
that's my point.
We're going to talk
These
about
are-
that next.
These are individual stakeholders that own this property and are gonna develop it when they feel
Right.
they need it.
Yeah.
But I think all we're looking at this evening is what parcels we want to include in this entire study. That's it. It's
Is there a
not-
reason to make that, like, are we opening this up for, maybe there's some information that we're not thinking about yet? Are there
Exactly.
gonna be public comments, like, I know Eric's about to jump out of his chair, like, that would be helpful to us, that,
More of the same from her.
that would be helpful? Before we start saying, yeah, put that in, put that out, like, maybe I don't understand the nuances of some of the things that we're potentially considering.
Well, if we're going to continue down the line, I personally think it all should be included, and that we guide them in prioritization of the emphasis of what we're working on, like what we really want. But I think it's not smart to not include our entire harbor in this, the entire,
All right, when
all
you talk
pieces.
entire harbor, you're talking commercial and industrial, like
Yes.
industrial?
Yep.
All of it.
All of it. I don't think there'll be the majority of the time spent on that. We would want, and I think, I mean, what I've heard you say is that we'll have an opportunity to guide in that
Absolutely.
direction.
Yes.
I think it'd be very short-sighted for us to eliminate things out.
All right, so going back down that road, Clayton.
I mean, I don't see any reason not to. Michael, is there anything we're not considering here, like, as we're going down this list about what we should potentially be asking to be included in a study?
I missed the first part of that question, sorry.
I mean, your group is the one actually doing this. Are we like getting ourselves digging a hole financially by asking the whole thing to be looked at, or?
No, I don't think so. I think we have, I think principally it will be our design subs that are helping, and I don't expect their costs would increase significantly. And truly, if we're not ending up at a point where they're looking at designing concepts or renderings for more than undeveloped properties, then I can't anticipate that cost would increase significantly, if at all. No, I don't think the estimate that we provided would change appreciably.
Okay, so far we have 2 for the whole property, and
Yeah.
and
I think.
I think, yeah, I would just expand on that a little bit. to say that, you know, when we've originally kind of scoped it, we were just focused on the Canoni property, you know, anticipating doing an assessment of that site as vacant land. I think if we were to be expanding those efforts and developing concept site plans and renderings for other properties, which it maybe doesn't sound like we would be doing, then I don't anticipate that the cost would change that great.
I only see 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's probably not gonna change that much. Now, the harbor might, because of street lamps and whatever else, to go with the flow of what's going on with the development just to the north of it.
Right,
So
so.
I would say that, but I don't really see a bunch of changes going in those southern part at all.
You're correct, and just so Michael hears clearly, part of what the conversation in the past has been is about continuing the road system that's in the historic district coming across the street
Right.
onto the railroad property, and then developing it more into a layout of a extension of the town.
It's not gonna
Whether
affect
that would still be where we head as a community at large, I don't know, because again, that's part of why you do a master plan, you get community input, so.
For me, I think it's a great opportunity for those people, those property owners on the south side of the harbor to give us input on what they're thinking for the future, how we can help support that, and how we can grow the town, so I think it should be a part of that.
Oh, we're skipping golf?
Oh, we already answered.
I'm fine with including it. My concern actually just is that we are biting off a lot to chew, and how long of a process it would be to get through all these pieces. And I would rather see us look at the ones that are sort of staring us in the face right now and tackle those first, and look to the others as step B. But I'm perfectly comfortable with us doing it all at once.
And I think just what he was saying there is that it wouldn't add a lot to it. I think if we did start separating it A, B, C, and D, that then, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that then would add costs if we started doing them as individual projects.
Yep.
Michael, do you want to speak to that, to a proposed calendar you were thinking of for this? For the planning process alone?
Yeah, so, you know, we've broken it up into two scopes, and at least the first scope would have some activities associated with property assessment, you know, assessment of the existing conditions. You know, and depending how you form these up, those tasks we think would be, you know, 2 to 3 months in and of themselves. And then the master planning process, we were anticipating a 10-month process. So, you know, depending how you break these up, but if you were doing just a master planning process, the site assessments, and then the full master planning process, it's about a year process.
It's fast and
Like
accomplished.
everything else. So do
Okay.
we need to make a motion on this for,
You don't need to make a motion unless you wish to take a motion, but what I heard is consensus this evening, what to include, and you're going to see this contract coming to you at your next meeting to vote upon the engagement of the Berkeley Group for the scope of work. So I'm not saying you don't have another bite to argue this further.
so that's when a motion would be made to
Yeah.
award the contract to the Berkeley?
Yes.
Can we
Okay.
give an opportunity to hear from members of the community at this point?
I don't think so at this point, because we don't even know what we're doing right now, right? I mean, I don't know. You tell me.
I personally have no idea what this thing is going to be.
Yeah.
What they're going to do. That's just my, I mean, I can listen, but it doesn't.
Maybe if I can at least
Yes.
finish the
Yes,
rest of
go
my
ahead,
staff
finish it up.
report, and then if you wish to entertain any other comments from anybody else, that's
That's
your
fine.
call. So the next question I was hoping we could have some conversation on is, it is specific to the railroad property alone. Because again, in my time here, I've heard lots of conversation through the budget process, through the strategic plan, through the capital plan, whether that property will be developed by a third party, or if the town will be a potential purchaser of some or all of the railroad property. And I'm not sure what analysis, if any, has been done in those sorts of conversations to date. So in my conversations with the town manager, I felt maybe we should, again, through the services of the Berkeley Group, look at this a little better to help you pull together the various pieces of evaluation, both in terms of the condition of the land, the parameters or restraints that might be on the land for potential resale or sale to someone. Know what all the easements are. I know we're in the process of getting an appraisal on the property. And then figuring out from there what would be a potential development plan for that. If the town is going to consider purchasing it, what would that look like for us to either be the developer or engage a third party to develop it on our behalf? Is that through going out for like a, I don't know, give me your best guess of what this land could look like, concept RFP to developers, and they kind of all put their proposals forward. There are any number of ways to go about this. I don't know if that's really been a conversation you've had yet from the council. And then how would a return on your investment be achieved? So it's not as simple as just saying, well, we'll sell it again. After it's been developed, what does that look like? So I think that's part of getting assistance from the Berkeley Group, who can help do some of that higher level conceptual work for you, bring those informations back to you. So we wanted to put that before you for consideration tonight and have a conversation.
Because that's going to need to happen sooner than later if everything does go down the way it's supposed to go down. So my opinion on that, and I'll just start it off, is the town obtaining the land does not mean the town will be developing by any stretch of the imagination. If we do buy the land, it would definitely be, the only thing I'm looking at by doing that is then we do get to put the concept out there, and we do get to then put it out for bid with the way the town wants it, not the way that a developer wants it. If they want to come in and do it the way we want it, great. If they don't bid on it. But that's just my opinion. Everybody else can have their own. But I feel that if the town loses this opportunity, if we're right of first refusal on this land, it's going to be a big miss. Big miss, my opinion.
I tend to agree with you, but I'm just curious, is the alternative to that we could manage the development of this land through zoning? I just don't understand. That is, okay, so those are really the kind of the two sides to this.
Well, the problem with that, you're right, but the problem is now we're just talking a year in order to not only just develop our conceptual master plan, but then we got to turn it into zoning requirements or revisions.
Okay, and so the concern would be that somebody would buy this property before we were done with the master plan? Is that what your thought is?
Yeah, could be.
Okay.
But they still would have to go through our zoning process, which we have. We have in place.
But as it stands today, if somebody should buy it right this second, and it's
Right.
not the town,
Right,
they would need to follow the development under our subdivision act, and then the underlying zoning district, which is harbor commercial.
right.
And so right now, we don't have articulated that we have it in our comprehensive plan that we would like the street pattern to continue across,
Right.
but we don't have it specifically articulated anywhere else in ordinance fashion.
But we have
And
it to
it's in a
reference,
plan of comp plan.
too, as we're meeting. I mean, when we first started these discussions, just a little back history, in 2018, it was hurry up because that land's gonna be sold. And, the talk was at that point, we would get 3 developers in to come in with a presentation of what they saw and would use the space, and then the town would work with them in going forward. That was the plan. I still have large reservations about the town becoming the property owner of the space. I think there's a lot of unknown out there, that we then become the owners and we're stuck with and can't, the brownfield and some of those other things. I've never gotten across that finish line to go in that direction, so.
And I think that's why we've
Right,
had these conversations with the Berkeley Group, and we're working on 2 different scopes of work. One is the master plan for that whole area, And the second is this very specific railroad property
Yeah, so I'm gonna
analysis and
make
consideration.
clear just what you just said. They're
Yep.
two separate things, they're not combined. We dealt with the master plan, and
Yes.
this is a separate.
This is a separate,
Evaluate the pros and cons as to what we should do relative to purchase of that land.
Right.
yes.
And that's the priority.
consultants. That's the
And that's the
Right.
priority.
And if, Michael, are you comfortable with sharing a little bit about that scope of work at this point? How you think that might work out and some of the people or entities that you're partnering with to potentially look at this on our behalf?
And the timeline.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. So we, as Katie indicated, we kind of came up with two different scopes of work. The first scope of work that would precede the master planning would essentially be called a site assessment, engagement, and strategic planning. And as part of that, we would look at doing an assessment of the site, a site visit, having a partner, Collins Engineering, doing a technical assessment and mapping of the site, collecting data applicable to the site and the use of it. We would also have an economic development partner, Rural Resilience Advisors, and they would do a market assessment for the property, for the area, to determine what is the marketability for the development of the property, for the use of the property. We would have a public engagement event, so hear from the public in terms of what their vision was for the property, and then we would prepare a report on all of that information. As part of that, we would also obviously be determining, looking at zoning and the current use allowances for the property. And then we would hope to have at least one, but probably two facilitated sessions with you all, presumably possibly in closed session because of the nature of the discussions, but talking through the various questions and hopefully providing the answers to you to understand and inform any decision about potential acquisition of the property, or either that or alternatives for positioning on the property and the future use of the property. And we think that would be a great first step in this, and we anticipate that would be a 4-month process. We need a couple of months for each of our economic partners, our design partners, to kind of give the baseline information. I can envision as part of that process that we would solicit a series of questions from you all. What are the questions you all have that need to be answered to allow you to answer the question in terms of whether or not the town should look to acquire the property? And so that would be a discrete project in and of itself. And some of those tasks we would always want to do as part of a master plan, but we're kind of front loading them. We're getting an engineering assessment about the property, and we're getting a market assessment, which is going to be valuable down the road when we're developing concepts, because we want to make sure those are based in reality, based on the market conditions.
So are you talking about a separate scope of work, or is that essentially the first phase of what you would be doing anyway?
It's some of it we would be doing anyway. We would definitely encourage, as part of the master plan, to do the initial assessment, public engagement, and the market assessment, the market study. But we've separated that out as a phase 1, scope 1, because of the coordination back with you all and helping inform your decision making, which to a large degree informs the development of the master plan. Your decision about your position with respect to the property does, to a degree, inform the outcomes from the master plan.
Right.
And so we want to, get that question at least answered as best we can, or at least to a point, and then start the master planning process. But yes, there are steps as part of that we would want to do as part of any master planning effort.
And we did break it out in this fashion because we're aware, and I've shared this with the Berkeley group at this point, you've entertained discussions with Canoni Atlantic, and again, I'm not privy to all those conversations, but we're aware there's a time-sensitive matter, that we know this property will eventually get clear for title, and Canoni Atlantic will be positioned to sell it. And we know that there is this consideration happening by the council. I don't think decisions have been made, but we know that's been one of the thoughts. And so we wanted to try and get the necessary analysis done for you as quickly as possible. That's why we did an earlier, as he said, basically a 4-month process. So we would hope if we could reach agreement tonight on this, then yes, that process could start again from your next meeting when you vote on all this, and have it to you by the end of the year, that piece of this. So on the off chance that the Canoni Atlantic property is truly ready for public sale at some point in the beginning of the new year, we'll be positioned at least to respond appropriately to that.
So Michael, on that note, if we had to fast track it, what would be the chances of that if it needed to be done before the end of the year to get the feasibility and studies done, realistically?
You know, our schedule, we were looking at starting September 1, let's hypothetically say October, November, December. You know, I think realistically, you know, maybe you can carve a month off of that. You know, my staff will, you know, kick me out for saying that, but yeah, I think, you know, if you all need a quicker decision, we can certainly talk with Katie and see where we can, you know, sacrifice some things. You know, it's really a lot of the technical assessment work and the market assessment that are just going to take some time, and we can just work to try to get some of those things started sooner in the process, I think, and maybe be done, you know, if we were to start September 1, closer to the end of December, end of November, early December.
Thank you.
Well, let me just ask a question, and I don't want to be stoned by the public here, but to what degree does the public or even town council input needed to be done in order to facilitate this process? What are you looking for from us that's going to change your marketing aspects or your assessments? And to what degree? You're going to look for Paul Grossman's opinion on what we should do with that property? That's not going to help you. And that's all I'm asking. What are you looking for from the public or from us on that?
With respect to the master plan?
No, the master plan's different. I'm talking this separate scope of assessing should we or should we not buy the property.
Doing your feasibility study on the railroad.
Right.
So I think what we're trying to do, what we're attempting to do is collect information to inform your decision making. So a market assessment, I think if I were looking to acquire property as a public entity, I would want to know what the marketability of the development of that property was, what the potential return of investment might be, depending on what I was intending to use the property for. I would want to know from a technical standpoint what are the challenges or issues that may affect the development of the property. And I would want to understand from the public what their expectations are for the use and development of the property. And collectively, all of those things I would assume would be valuable to you all to inform your decision making.
All right, I don't see that. A bunch of those steps I see as necessary. I don't see some of the other ones on what we envision for that property, making it into a decision, well, to buy it or not. I don't see where that comes from.
Doesn't this all, like, just to simplify this all starts, like, we have an appraisal in process, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, if this thing comes back and our appraisal that we paid for compared to Canoni's valuations are worlds apart, and I mean, we don't have a blank check to write for this. There's probably a zone where we can have a conversation whether or not this is the right decision, at which point you do a due diligence study period and say, is this worth that number based on its marketability? But this all seems very premature. I mean, I can tell you why I'd love to own that land, and we all could express our opinions on that, but right here tonight, this Thursday evening, I think, until we have numbers, like, I don't want to pay to have the roof inspected if I find out the house costs $20 million. It's not in my budget, so I'll wait until I find out what they want for it.
So you're correct, it may be premature, but we also are recognizing we think there's gonna be some very time-sensitive decision-making coming.
Sure.
And so we are doing some of the due diligence.
Right.
We're trying to start that now to
So I
get
would-
you positioned.
I would
to make those
absolutely want
decisions.
everything he just described, especially given the fact that all those overlay into the main project that they'll be doing. I mean, you'll have to know those same very things, whether we own it or someone else does. If you find out 30 of the acres are not buildable for whatever reason, that's pretty important information. But right now, yeah, for sure, I'm going to want that information before we even have a conversation. Too often, we all are up here expected to decide stuff with zero data. And like, that's the stuff we need to know. And
That's what
certainly
we're trying
beginning
to
with the
get
number.
into.
Yeah, so I'm all in favor of that happening. I don't know about the timing of it. I don't know how close we are to any type of valuations coming back to us or where our conversations are with Canoni, but.
And the fact that we're not developers.
Right.
That's not the point.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
so my question for Michael,
Can I have you lean forward so you get into the microphone so you can hear?
Michael, so I have a question for you. Will this include any suggested subdivision of how, you know, if this is a plan thinking that we should do this, how it best should be subdivided so that we can, you know, get our best bang for the buck? Or does it include in what we're trying to understand, how we want it to be developed? So would any of that include suggestions for subdivisions or design and things like that?
Yes, that would come as part of the phase 2, the second scope to develop the master plan. I can envision, you know, any number of recommendations coming out of that based on the evaluation of the property, based on public engagement, based on the goals and objectives that we define through the process. And the outcome would be, you know, here's a recommendation with respect to the property should be subdivided in this manner or should be developed in this manner. Yeah, that would be what I would expect, something like that to come out of the master planning process.
That's where the public input comes in, though.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, the reason I would want to own this property as a town is because not to be the developer, but because I'd like to retain some of the property for things that we desperately need, like parking, not just on the Mason Avenue side, but on the harbor side, public parking lots for residents, for boat storage to get them off the streets. I mean, a multitude of things that parks, open spaces, all types of stuff that you can't tell a developer to just give you back. I mean,
Well,
you kind of can.
yes, you can.
You kind of can, but they won't.
Well, when we first talked about it back in 2018, you know, we were going to give up 20, you know, we have 25% green space, and so we were designating,
Yeah.
you know, we want this, and those very initial kind
Right.
of conversations. So there is the ability to do some
But
of
green
that.
space doesn't include always some of the
No, but
municipal.
I can include in
You
zoning
can include
requirements
parking.
for a developer to provide X.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
For itself,
Say that again?
for itself, for what it's developing.
So going back to
Yes.
what we just talked about.
But
is
we
that-
need it for what's already been developed.
Again, let's not go into the whole developing this property already, because that's not what we're doing tonight. So Rick, should we have the appraisal back before September 1st?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. It
Let's
should
wait
be
till
within
then,
next week or
find
two.
out what the appraisal comes in at. Number one, the property's not even on the market yet, so
Yeah.
we're premature in all this right now. So I don't know what motion we need to make at this point to move on with this, or are there any that need to be made?
Katie, I think that most of us, or if not all of us, agree that these things have to happen.
Yeah.
It's just, when do we say, go ahead and get started on it? So I think we would agree that some site evaluation, feasibility study needs to happen.
So that's part of, I'll end up in a conversation again with Michael following this meeting to figure out where we might need to refine the scopes of work that we have currently are working on, phase 1 and phase 2, and maybe that needs to be merged or jettisoning some things off that may not be on the table. It will all be, or sitting out there until you get a decision on the appraisal, things of that nature. So that's why I needed this meeting tonight. And have these conversations, so I'm glad we had the discussion about the area, but it also helped me understand where I am trying to do your scope of work for the Berkeley Group. So the idea is we're bringing this back at your next August meeting to vote on some things with dollars attached to that.
Great,
That's what it's going to be.
thank you.
So I'm gonna hit the last thing, because I'm not done yet. As part of this, this all started because there is a community development block grant that is open right now that we may wish to apply. And one of the criteria, even to apply, means you have to have a project management team in place now. They need that as part of the application process. So I just want to state a couple of things. Just because we apply doesn't mean we get a grant. That's just crystal clear. There's no guarantee in any of this. However, we included money in the budget to start to do this process. I don't have sufficient funds to cover everything we've talked about, so we are having those conversations with the Berkeley group now about cost and how we might handle this. But with that said, I still think an establishment of a Harbor and Railroad Master Plan Steering Committee or Project Management Team, PMT is what's in the grant, so I'm trying to use their language, should be established, and we should start engaging them. And it's not that they make the decisions, but they will work with staff and the Berkeley group and help serve in that role of pulling this together, be there for the community meetings, and bring all that back to the town council. So I have talked to you about some of the composition that should be considered for that. That's up to you if you wish to follow me, add to it, expand to it, delete from it. It's your call. I will tell you under the CDBG grant requirements, they do require a locality official, be it the town manager or mayor, be part of that PMT, a representative from the Regional Planning District Commission if applicable, but we do not see using the ANPDC to serve as an administrative component of overseeing this grant for us. This is something the town will handle through hiring our own consultant of the Berkeley group to run this through for us. As I said, the grant manager and consultant, engineers and architects, appropriate consulting services. So again, the Berkeley group has named a few of those that would be pulled in, that they would engage on our behalf. And then project spark plugs, that is the terminology in the grant book, which is representatives of the community to be assisted. I did want to stress to you that the PMT will need to comply with the open meeting law. So any meetings that they have will have to be posted and will be open to the public. Things of that nature, there'd be minutes, the whole works. So I have given you what could be a possible composition of the PMT. I put out 2 council members, 2 planning commission members, 2 harbor adjacent property owners, 1 railroad property owner representative, 1 representative from the Cape Charles Civic League, and 1 representative from Cape Charles Main Street. And the staff I would engage in this, it would also be the town manager, the director of planning, harbor master, and the code official. So I'm throwing that out for your conversation this evening as to what you would like to see in that composition of a PMT.
I'd like to see someone, added in as a representative from the Bay Creek community. I don't know if that's Bay Creek Association, but I think that would be important.
I was going the same direction. I was going to say 2 residents, one at least from Bay Creek, and one, I realize we have the Civic League, but I think one of the things we found out during the Beach Master Plan is we didn't just have resident at large, and I think one from each of those neighborhoods, per se, would be helpful. I know you don't want to get it into a lot more people, but I think that would be important to add as well.
And Katie, the ones you named are mandatory for this grant, correct?
The possible composition is up to us, how large we want it. The ones I named first, where I read that it's on your staff report, the locality official, representative from blah, 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 that is what is required under the grant.
Okay.
So I definitely say someone from the section 3 and then 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Definitely someone from those groups. Both, 1 each at least.
Say that one more time, section 3,
Section 3, Kemp's stuff,
got it?
because he's not only there, he's in 11, so, and then you've got Southport, and then Virginia Marine Equipment. So, but, you know, Southport's got a couple lots over there, 3, I believe. So I definitely think they should be part of it,
Okay.
definitely, because those are your adjacent ones, and those are the guys that are, got a lot going on over there.
Andy, you're proposing one from each of those
Yeah,
groups?
one from each, at least. Because that's the adjacent property owners. I mean, you got Canonie's already named by itself. So that whole property is taken care of.
And what, do people think we need 2 from planning and 2 from council? I'm just curious, what,
Well, you may have overlaps for
Right.
people that sign up. I was looking at Harbor
get
too.
2 for
We got the
one.
Harbor Area Review Board that we're
Yeah.
not even talking about here.
When it comes to the board, we could get 2 off of the board, not necessarily
Right.
able. It could be one from Harbor, one from
right,
wherever,
like 1 from Harbor, 1 from planning.
where it's just 2 on a board. But I still think it should be 2 from council.
So did you get that planning commission and Harb, just
So-
Mm-hmm.
one each?
So 1 from planning commission, because again, you, keep in mind, you have planning commissioners who have been assigned to be on the Harbor Area Review Board as well. So there is.
Well, that might be
you have the
that might be a
council.
good one to pick, if that's what they
Overlap with
want.
council too on some
Right.
roads.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Clayton.
I'm not familiar.
Planning town council guy.
Nothing like throwing them under the bus.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I take it we have to have this ready to go before the next.
So again, do you, so at this point, not just the composition, yes, I need, now we can take this time over the next 2 weeks to get this out to the community, see if names could be solicited and advance forward for your consideration of naming them at your August, whatever your next one is.
21st.
Thank you.
2
to-
weeks.
And again, we can announce it here, and I would ask Sylvia if we can put something out special of an announcement, asking for people to submit an application to be considered to be placed on this PMT.
When does the grant need to be in?
It's a rolling grant, so their first round, I think, are gonna start in September for initial awards, and then they're gonna keep doing another cycle and another cycle until they have awarded all the money. So time is of the essence, that's all I can say. Doesn't mean this would be our only shot. They will open up again next year, so there will be this continuing possibility to go after the CDBG grants, and I've talked with the Berkeley group, and part of their efforts would be helping us to identify other grants that we should be pursuing for some of this work potentially as well. So, but having a PMT name won't hurt us at all, because I think part of this is ensuring we have a clear partnership with the community at large, that they are involved in this project.
Well, I know that Ken has expressed interest from the beginning to be on this group. I don't know if there's anybody else that
I'd like
has
to be on
interest,
it, too.
so. I don't, that's fine by me. I just wanted, we can get our part done. The two people named tonight, right?
If you're looking for vision, you're not gonna pick me.
No, we know that.
Ken wasn't the second.
Well, only if there's white bread and a bologna sandwich,
Right.
you know what I mean? Plain same old, same old.
So beyond the changes I just heard, so you'd like to actually expand it, so it's two actual full residents, one coming out of the Bay Creek area and one out of the rest of the town area at large.
Yeah.
Again, you're indicating the 3 property owners at this point. I think you've identified Kemp or representative on Kemp's behalf, Air, same thing, or representative on his behalf, Jim Gunn, or representative on his behalf.
I actually think it should be a member of the Bay Creek Community Association or something along those lines. I'm making that sort of connection between the Civic League and the Community Association. That's sort of where I'm going with that. I'm okay with there also
Is
being
that the HOA, or is
Yeah.
that something else?
POA, yeah.
Yeah, HOA, same thing.
And then residents separately or something like
Residents
that.
at large.
Yes,
And then 2
But I still
residents.
think just one from each.
yes.
Not 2 from Bay Creek, not 2
Agreed.
from,
But my concern here is, as we get these numbers to be larger and larger, if a quorum
Yeah.
means it has to be of that total number,
correct.
it's very possible we wouldn't reach quorum.
Yes,
correct.
that's why I
And
stress the
without
open
running
meeting
to
law
another
component.
state.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you can't have them participate, just not as a named member, leadership member to the PMT, that's all. So it's not saying that you won't have and invite Bay Creek or the historic district or the town at large to be a part of these meetings.
Well, that's why I said I don't think we need 2
Leadership.
planning commission people.
Right.
You know, I think we learned from the beach master plan and short-term rental committees that we had some gaps, and we filled in the one for short-term rental with someone, a business community member, late in the game. And the beach master plan, I just think we missed the boat on that all the way around, and I don't want to do that again.
But I also want it to be, if someone's gonna make a commitment, they need to make a
Yes,
commitment.
right.
It's not gonna be, oh, well, I really wanna be part of this, and that first meeting comes up and, oh, well, that doesn't meet my schedule. Well, I'm sorry, you need to change your schedule.
And I think you've
So,
heard what sort
that's
of,
all there
what
is to it.
timeframe is involved in a master planning
Sure.
process.
Because this needs to be quick. I mean, I don't wanna go into next year for this grant, because that doesn't do us any good. We're gonna already have paid all our money.
Right.
So what good's a grant gonna do us then? So if someone signs up, I don't care how many we have, but I think the commitment needs to be made that they need to know up front that whenever the meeting's scheduled, they need to
Yeah.
cancel what they're doing.
And maybe
I
we
mean,
need to actually put that in writing,
Absolutely.
and they commit to it,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, it needs to be an emergency if they're not here.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Okay. So I think I now have marching directions from you. I will stop talking and turn the meeting back to you, Mayor, and if you wish to entertain any further comments from anyone.
All right. I am not going to entertain any further comments on this evening, just because I believe it's too premature. We'll wait for the next meeting on that, and we will move this meeting right along to the town hall meeting order of business, discussion of public restroom options. And if I could get the staff presentation and discussion with council, and then I will just go over, well, actually, I'll just do it now because I don't know how much we're going to talk about it ourselves. But anyway, when we do the public opinion, if you could just wait till you do get a microphone to speak, just be respectful of anybody that's talking. Please no one just talk, from your seats, because we do have it up on Facebook and we want everybody to hear everybody's comments. And if you do have something to say, it is going to be back and forth. Just please make sure you have the microphone and going on. Rick?
All right, so I'm just going to go through my presentation and sorry, this is not fun. Just sitting
We'll get you the
straight up.
clip.
So first, I want to thank the community for being here. This is amazing that you take your time to come out and have an exciting discussion about bathrooms. That means a lot.
It is thrilling.
Council, thank you.
This is
We live an exciting life around here, let me tell you.
Queen Potty over here.
Yeah,
Well,
potty
we'll
mouth.
be number one and the number two business. So, Greg likes that. So I'm just grateful first. This is, I've spent more time than I'd ever dreamed about spending with bathrooms. Never thought that this would be, I thought it would be simple. Like, just, let's remove the red tape and let's just solve this thing. And as I've dug into it, it's not easy. And believe me, I've listened to many of you. I have done enough research to make me go to sleep that I'm really tired. I'm tired of looking at this. I'm tired. But also, I realize this is a big deal. And I don't want this to be kicked, like the can continue to be kicked. I know that we are really wanting to solve this. However, I think I'm at a crossroad that I need your help. So I need direction. And so every time that I feel like I move forward, I take 5 steps backwards because of the challenges that taken place. So anyways, I just wanted to say that first. The background in our current situation, if you go to the next slide. So here's the background. I understand, and I don't know the specifics about the details of the past. I don't care. I'm way past that now. I'm just like, I know that there's a history, but I really want to get to the point where we can move forward and solve this. But I'm aware that we've had the silver bullet for at least 5 years, 5+ years, right? I don't care how long it is, but at least 5 years. It was to be a temporary fix for us to make a decision what that long term was going to be. And so it was positioned to be at a place where we have water and sewer at the end of Peach Street at Mason. And so it's on Canoni property. We did a lease with them, and the lease is $500 annually, so it's reasonable. And I spoke to them, and they are still wanting to be partners with us if we have to amend this lease. So that was another one of like, oh great, can we build on this? If we were to build on this, the answer is yes, we can still do that. Okay, so that doesn't hinder us. but I didn't get that word until this week. And so after months of looking at this, that is not an issue at this point. But I have I was invited to go to the Civic League, and they wanted to get to know who I am, and they also got to share who they were, and so business owners came and began to share with me some areas that could be brought to my attention for the manager to be aware of so that we can continue to work together. And I'm grateful for the Civic League because you have grabbed the bull by the horns to tackle some really hard things. Because the town can't do it all herself. And so you're going to be our eyes and ears, and then we're going to collaborate and get projects done, sidewalks and trees and stumps. Stump King has already helped us with this. So this is exciting, okay? It is. It's exciting. But what I discovered is that bathrooms are a big deal. It is a big deal for the community, for our businesses. And I walked away going, oh, I'm going to solve this. Many of us talked and collaborated afterward. It was like, okay, I got this. We're gonna fix this problem, and I'm gonna make it quick. And it's not gonna be quick. So that's what I'm here to say. It's not easy. But here's what I heard from you that night, who attended that meeting, that frequent out of order signage is on the Silver Bullet. It's locked frequently because of issues. It's inconsistent when it comes to being cleaned and maintained. It's not ADA accessible. It's insufficient stall capacity. It's just 2 stalls. And so it doesn't meet the need of the town. And they're just frustrated with a temporary status. It's just another year's gone by and we haven't done anything. So I heard you and I began to research this. Is this really a problem? Like, I take it personally. I told you a commitment. If I want to take this seriously, then if I want you to take it seriously, then I'm going to take it seriously first. So I see it's a big problem. So I contacted our public works to talk to them about it. Like, what's the deal? Why can't we fix this thing? So I found out that yes, there has been a flushing valve problem on it. It's an RV toilet. So it's not designed for the capacity that we've been doing with it. It's a short-term, temporary thing that we came in. But the toilet has had frequent valve flushing problems. And they have fixed it. And so every time we've had a valve issue, they lock the door, they fix it within 24 hours. Now, that's recent. I understand that there was a door problem before that it was out a lot longer, but I'm not looking at that because that's archived. I like that. I'm going to use that a lot. It's archived. It's not a problem. But the flushing valve was a problem, and it has been a problem many times. It was addressed. It works now. And I asked, well, could we actually renovate those toilets and put in better toilets? And the answer is yes, we can do that. We can upgrade it and continue to buy time. That's what it is. It's just buying time. So it's like wearing a knee brace. You wear a brace until you buy time to get surgery, right? It's like, how long do we buy time? And so, but I can buy time. I can buy a lot more time with the Silver Bullet. I found out that they're actually cleaned 3 times a day. So they are cleaned. They've gone, and I actually went to go observe randomly. I didn't tell my staff, and the first time I went, it was disgusting. So I feel your pain. The other times, they were clean. So you know what? All it takes is one bad apple to make it bad. Even though we're cleaning 3 times a day, I can increase that with my staff. All it takes is one bad person when you walk in. And so it's like, so that's always going to be a problem. I'll never be able to solve that. I can't legislate people's hearts. If people are intent to do bad stuff, they're going to do bad stuff. But we can do our best to try to have a great impression of when people have to use the restroom that it's clean. So, but I've checked my staff are cleaning it 3 times. There's a schedule. They all have to check it off. And there's actually, if you go inside the Silver Bullet, there's a number to call if it needs to be cleaned. And that number is a direct line where it goes to somebody that they check and they immediately go clean it. So we have a system and it seems to be working on that. Now, yes, it is not ADA accessible, but we do have a porta potty that is ADA accessible. And there's issues. I also found out in further diving into this that what I'm hearing it's the porta potties that are really disgusting. And that they're only cleaned once a week. Once a week. So imagine you go into a porta potty, and if ours are bad, and we're cleaning ours 3 times a day, and that's only being cleaned once. So I could go and increase our contract for them to clean it twice a week, still twice a week. I don't know how much cleaner you're going to get than 3 times a day, but we're doing. So I can have it cleaned once a day, and it's still going to be disgusting in a porta potty. They're just not designed that way. They're designed for event only. They're not for long-term use. So that's an issue. I mean, as I've dug into this, we have a porta potty problem because we're depending on porta potties regularly. And then our Silver Bullet can only handle 2 people. Now, where we feel the crunch is during events. During a regular day, I've never seen a line on a regular day. Now, maybe you have because you've been here a lot longer. But in my observations, I try to walk at least once a day. I've never seen a line. But I have seen lines at events. And I saw a really long line at the DeLorean's concert. And I was in that line. So, yes, but it everyone got a chance to go to the bathroom and it worked. I know, I saw that. So here's my questions that I need direction. And so I wanted to bring that. So the strategic questions that help. Should public restrooms be combined with the visitor center? Now that one I know is not your issue per se. It's my issue because it makes it really very challenging and very specific if we marry those 2 things. And I think we have married them in the past as we were looking for specific places of near the train car. We were going to build a facility. We took it out to bid, and it was just really expensive, so we pulled back. And then we're looking at different options. And so we have been looking at different options for us to get there. But as we were looking at it, I've tried to step back and like, if we were to separate these, what are our options then? And so there are options. There's a lot that it opens it up as far as financially the cost. Because when you combine these, it has to be very specific that can meet our needs for visitor center, Main Street office, and restrooms. And we would think at least 4 to 6 restrooms is what we're looking for. We're going to invest that kind of heavy money. We want something of substance that can meet the need of the downtown businesses. So either I can do a short term, separate them and do a short term, or we focus on a long term and I buy time. And there's 2 ways I can buy time. And I'll talk through that. So that's the first question. The second question is, can the Silver Bullet be maintained long enough to buy time? And I know that's what we've been doing, but it helps give direction of what are we trying to go after. I can up the ante and get it cleaned more regularly so that the public has a cleaner interface. But the porta potty thing is still not solvable. I mean, unless we clean them, unless I get my crew to go in there and clean them, but that's asking a whole lot more than what our staff do. They're already, they have chores that they do regularly. Number 3, do we pursue short-term trailer replacement or a permanent? So the short-term trailer would be because the Silver Bullet does not, it's done. It's end of life. It's time to move on and choose a better trailer system, short-term trailer that can accommodate more stalls. So, and I've done research to find 5 or 6 stall. There's a cost, and we'll go through that in a second. But that would be I can move in and get that within 3 months. 1 to 3 months. It depends on if they have one, but they go quick. So even the quotes that I got, it's like, well, this is if you do it right now, but it gives me a time. I can do that's a short-term win, but it gets us to the spot where again it's short-term because we're trying to find a permanent solution. But at least it solves the problem right now. And that cost is going to be $68,000 to $72,000. I know that. That's the research I've gotten. The next question is, where should the long-term facility be located? And that also determines. We've got several different options, and I'll go through that in a second. And should the town own the facility or lease it? Is it important that we own it? It becomes our asset, or it doesn't matter. And in that case, we lease it, we lease the best place that can accommodate our needs. Okay, so that's where we're at. So if you go to the next page, decision tree. This is, I was trying to think, how do we want to make a decision. So this kind of helps if I can get feedback from the council. Should we combine the restrooms with the visitor center? Is that a non-negotiable? Or if, meaning, yes, we're going to do that, and then that helps us, we won't get distracted by any other decisions. It narrows down to say, okay, let's look at those options that meet that need. Because I've done a lot of research, and you're going to see a ton of options. But if that is important, then a lot of those options immediately go away. So I'm asking the council direction there.
Yeah, I'll just offer, you can separate it in my mind.
Okay? Yes? Okay. Because if we separate them, I'll give you a lot of options. But if we don't, it just really gives me very limited
Yeah, I mean,
options.
I think it's important, just from a historical perspective. The only reason it was combined is at that time we were looking into using ARPA money and some other resources to build the visitor center and bathrooms in one structure. We also were much further along on how that land over by the railroad property was. It was very, at that point, it was very immediate, like it was, kind of coming. Again, we're here we are, however many years later. So that was the initial concept of doing that. And I think it's important to state that the reason that the Main Street office was connected to the visitor center is that you can't just have a visitor center. You have to have someone who manages that and staffs that. And if we're going to have a visitor center, we want it to be a Virginia tourism approved visitor center, which there's specific grants and resources that you have to do, but that means you have to have a certain amount of hours of coverage. So I think that history is important. I think it's certainly fine for those two things to be separate in the state that we're at now,
Okay.
because of where things went. But there was an important history of why it was originally
Okay.
kind of together.
I just want to make sure, is everyone, council, are you okay that we can separate them for the discussion?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be separated, but it can be.
Could be,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
We may come back and say we want them together.
Right.
But at this point, let's just entertain, let's separate them. Okay, so I would assume that, like, let's just, in the discussion, let's separate this and look at visitor center, okay? So I have had a meeting with the museum board and with Main Street for us to talk about the possibility of, what if we move it around in the front of coming into town? And so beside the museum is an old train station with a train car in the back, and it's used by the museum really just to store memorabilia and things like that they just haven't been able to put up, or they're not going to put up. They're archived stuff. So, Katie, can you run a video? So I did a video. Hey, lower your expectations. It's a very, 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 very basic, just to give you of what I'm talking about. So, man, I put music behind. I spent hours. I spent 10 seconds. Okay, literally 10 seconds to do this.
You have to take the screen and actually move it off the page.
I know.
Yeah, there you go.
And it'll come, yeah.
And then start it from the beginning, because it's only 20 seconds.
That's nice.
It is?
Should I get a crap out of it?
Yes.
Top left.
You just click
on the video.
Right there.
Oh, auto hide. Move your mouse up.
Thank God it's beautiful, right?
My goal is to win Clayton over. Okay. And so I wanted to show that to you so you can see, it's probably around 700 square feet-ish. It's 700 to 800 square feet, which is actually kind of similar to what we were looking at other places if we were to combine them. But if you just looked at the visitor center space, that's about what we had other places. And this, it's a small facility. However, it's got great charm. It has got an ADA ramp already built into it. It's got a beautiful range. The cars, it's like 6 of the cars behind it. You got the museum right beside it. But there's the potential of being a real visitor center in the front of our town coming in. And I'm used to that from Colorado. In Georgetown, we had a beautiful visitor center as soon as you come into town, and it was kind of like a train station too, but about 20 times bigger. So we had a huge visitor center. And so I'm used to seeing something like that. But it has potential, and the museum board met and discussed, and they're willing to potentially do a partnership with Main Street that we can get that done. So at that point, we don't have to worry about that. And then if you also think about it, it is small. They can't do everything in there. It would be offices and then a display area. But the goal was to have a conference room too. It's just too small to do all that. But when we build the new town hall, it's pretty much across the street, and we'll have lots of conference space over there. So it all is kind of very centralized of what we're going to do. And we still have the Civic Center. So we can still use that until we decide to sell this. So I think it's a viable option for us to consider as we think about a visitor center.
So isn't that a little secondary to what we need to talk about?
It is.
Okay, we've agreed we're gonna...
It is. I just wanted to bring it to your attention that is, I looked at, can we find a solution to that, right? It is not in concrete at all. It's just a possibility. Okay, so going back to the next question, do we want to maintain the silver bullet right now in order to buy time? Or do we want to replace it, even in the short time, to get something bigger and to accommodate a more capacity?
Well, we could also do both.
Yeah.
We need more than we have, and we still could move the Silver Bullet to Central Park because we don't have enough bathroom facilities
That got a
there.
tank in it.
Yeah.
How big is it?
Yeah, but it's not enough.
Yeah, that's what
It can-
Now at least you can use the 2 that are there.
Well, what I'm getting at is that tank, how big is that tank? Because even in an event, it might not be big enough.
Oh, it's big enough for an event. Yeah, that was the whole idea, is that once we replaced, had a permanent replacement, that it would be moved around for event. come
But
temporary.
just there at the event and then go back to Public Works?
Yeah.
How long before we get a permanent replacement? How long would you have to have a temporary?
Well, that depends on council. That's the next direction. It's in my questions too. So, but it's, if we do a permanent, there's nothing quick in a permanent solution. It's going to go through engineering. It's going to go through the permitting and approvals.
RFP.
Yeah, RFP, then construction, assembly, install. It's a process. For a permanent solution, you're going to see, it depends if 6 months would be the fastest we can go because we end up buying something, or they construct it and it's a year.
My concern with another temporary is what guarantee is there that temporary has the same flushing issues? Because I think that's common in them. And like you said, there have not been occasions, except for in special events, that there's really a line at the Silver Bullet. It's been that it hasn't been open or in the inconsistency of cleaning. I would hate to see us put in money for something that's going to have the same issues just because it has more units.
Yeah.
That is a nice alternative. If one's clogged, you could use the other one, but
Trailer's rentable, you have to buy it. And
That-
there's only one that is ADA
Yeah,
accessible.
that's correct. There are others, I can look, but they're about 100,000 to get an ADA.
Guys, we're gonna let Rick go ahead and get through.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get through with your presentations, and then we'll open it up to comments.
So I do want to respond to Tammy's because I think it's a good point. The reason for the higher capacity would also for us to eliminate the porta potties. Because if we take away 3 porta potties, we're actually gonna increase with the stalls at this new trailer.
But this new trailer would be replacing where the Silver Bullet is.
Correct.
So those porta potties are used heavily for beachgoers.
Yeah, they're on the beach.
So I
Okay.
don't think that.
Yeah,
He's
that-
talking about the porta potties that are now at the Silver Bullet.
Yeah, I'm
next
talking
to
about.
it.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other ones.
No.
Okay.
No, just whatever, it gives us higher capacity at the Silver Bullet area in order to meet needs.
Right.
Because if the business owners are saying to me that I hear is, the porta potties are disgusting around that area, well, that, we can take those out. Except for that, if we want an ADA trailer, it's gonna be more expensive. The, ADA trailer is built with a ramp that has on it, it's a portable ramp that comes with it, and it increases the cost for that, because it has to be long and everything and durable. These others, we can build a ramp. You know, we can take a trailer and build a ramp around it and a decking around it. It's gonna probably another $15,000 that would be added to that. So we could do it, but it's just gonna cost a little bit more to put an ADA ramp on that. So, going on, so yes, I think the option is we could replace the Silver Bullet right now and then refurbish the Silver Bullet with our maintenance crew so that we can move it to the park and have a better option, because we need another toilet there. I mean, I experienced it. I was in line for a long time. And the girls' line was even longer. I think it was 3 times longer than the guys' line. So the next question is the permanent. If we're going to look at a permanent solution, do we build on the Canoni land or town property, or do we not look at that? We look at a different option. You know, like we purchase something. Like I did some more research, and you'll see in the options in just a minute that we buy a building and we put bathrooms in it. Is another option. Or do we hold? Do we focus on, or here town property? We own 2 parcels behind the library. We could put bathrooms behind there. It's kind of out of sight unless we put signage, but it's also kind of closer to the beach. So then we're kind of duplicating bathrooms down near the beach where we should kind of be it's in a perfect location right now by Peach Street, because that's where people are walking by. It's easy to see, you can locate it. Is that important, that it has to be in that area?
In which area?
On Canoni land or town property?
I don't think it makes any
I don't think it
difference,
makes a
really,
difference.
for us,
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. I think location is important, which is why we originally had the location we were talking about, because that was very central to the commercial district and through events and things like that. That's why, so over by where the train is, that was why that was initially done. And the Silver Bullet was put where it was because it also does that. It's just, I mean, our town isn't, 15 blocks. It's,
Right.
it's a couple of blocks either direction. So, and the relationship that we have with Canoni to lease is good.
Yeah.
To do that.
So what happens
I
to
get
that?
nervous when we get into permanent structures, which is why the next phase of the visitor center bathroom was delayed, is because of the holdup with VRA and the ability to get a clear kind of move ahead
Yeah.
on doing that. So that slowed that down significantly even more. I guess I get concerned about building it on the library, the lots behind the library, because that's so much in the historic district, and these structures that we're looking at, although I think they're okay for where we're talking about them, I'm not so sure if I was in the historic district and I saw that across the street, that I would feel so good about that.
And it's also very residential. It may not
Residential.
be zoned that way,
Yeah.
as you said, Katie, but there's
Yeah.
houses all around it,
Yeah.
homes all around it, yeah. So I'm not crazy
How
about
does
that.
the ownership of the Canoni property, like that selling at some point, relate to our ability to build on it right now?
I asked that question to them, and
Rick Andy's talking about right now, they're actually looking to donate that land to us.
Yes,
yes,
Right now.
permanently.
correct.
Where
Yeah.
because the train has already been,
Right.
and now that they can move forward, they got the go-ahead from VRA for that portion
Correct.
to move forward.
Right.
So where it's currently located, if we look at the master planning or comprehensive plan, we anticipate Peach Street coming forward, you're coming down into the Canoni property. Therefore, the location where the Silver Bullet is right now would have to be moved about 50 feet over, because that's a very wide, I think it's 100 feet, width of road and easement through that.
Right.
I've talked to Spencer, and they have no problem of amending the lease long-term to work with the city. Even if it was sold, we would still have it. So if we purchase it, then it's ours, but it's still the lease. They have no problem continuing that, just amending the lease at $500 a year if we were to build a permanent structure 50 feet to the east. So that's that. Then the last question is just ownership. How important is that in making our decision? And then I have criteria for us to think through, and as we look through the options. And at the very end of your packet, the updated packet, is a score sheet. And then you'll be able to see it. But before you go to the score sheet, ownership, lease. Is that important that we lease versus that we own? The lease has benefits because it allows us to have a low cost monthly, low cost, that we put into this. So it depends if we do a lease where they build this out for us and then we do it, or we find something, we build it out and try to find a lease. And so there's advantages that if we can find a space that's big enough, like Peach Street, that we can combine and do everything. And I think if we did the Peach Street option, it's great location. It is, it's charming. It kind of fits that look that we're looking for as a fit of Kick Charles. I know originally we talked about having Main Street's conference room, display, and offices with bathrooms all in that. It's small too. It's going to be the same feel of that other center that we just looked at from the museum. If we take the conference section off, then it feels better. So I think it's a better use of the space. It's an option.
Do what with the conference center? More bathrooms?
Yeah,
Or just leave it
Open. It would just be an open where you come in with a desk, kind of a counter, and then people can come to it and get direction because it would be staffed for the requirements of the Main Street requirements to have somebody, a staff member there. And we would help visitors come in to find out what to do in our town. So you would have all kinds of decorations and displays of, I want to know about the shops or recreation activities. Somebody can guide them for that. So that's the questions to me that need major direction, whether, if that's a concern for you. If not, then, it could be, I can bring in another trailer and order that and we can upgrade it immediately. I did come up with some criteria I think are important as we think through the long term. So cost. Cost to me is very important. It's the total acquisition and long-term maintenance. So that's what I think about cost. Number 2, durability. High durability is something that's permanent. Low durability would be something that's temporary. Silver Bullet was not designed to be long-term, so I would give that a 1. A new facility that is even modular would be a 3 because it's designed for long-term. The fiscal responsibility of public funds would be another, I think it's important criteria that we think through. And it's just being responsible of how we use funds. Low cost is the goal. High durability. What can we manage these things? It's difficult, but that's the goal. Ownership to me is an important part, that we own it. Even if it's a lease, can we turn the lease into a lease to own so that it does become ours? Especially when you start projecting numbers after 10 years of how much we've invested into the property versus we could have bought that same thing, twice over. And so that's that responsibility to me that pushes on in ownership. ADA accessibility, I think we can all agree. We probably could even take that off because I know that we all agree that's important. And it's none of the options I would not try to accommodate that. But I do think it's the short-term versus long-term feel of how do we get through there. Aesthetic fit, I think it's important. We don't want to have something that, some of these options are not attractive. I get it. A trailer.
So won't we, when we're evaluating, if it doesn't have architectural alignment, we would give it a 1?
Correct.
Right? And same
Yes.
thing with ADA.
Correct.
We all say it's important, but if If the,
Absolutely.
the one that we're evaluating, we
Right.
would give it a 1.
Right.
Okay.
So when I did it, the evaluation, I'll give you an example. If one of the options, say it's a permanent solution that offers 4 stalls, and all 4 stalls were ADA, that's a 3.
Yeah.
If 2 out of 4 stalls, that's a 2. If no stalls, that's a 1.
Right.
I could say 0, but we at least give it a 1 because it's participation.
Gets a trophy.
So that's how I graded it. So when you grade it, you can do the same. And then speed of deployment, speed of how fast they can get this thing going and installed and ready to use. That's a timeline. So moving on to, I put this up because this is how I think. You know, we want something good. When I think good, this is high quality. Something fast, something that we could get it as soon as possible, and affordable is cheap. You know, the most affordable. We're being responsible for the funds. And I know you can only pick 2 because there is no such thing if you pick, it's like, if it's good and cheap or affordable, it's not going to be fast. If it's fast and good, it's not going to be cheap. If it's cheap and fast, it's not going to be good. You know, so it's like, that's the dilemma that I think through of like trying to solve this problem. It's not easy to solve.
And Rick knows I don't like the word cheap.
That's why I put affordable.
I appreciate
It says
that.
affordable.
I'm like, cheap
But
is cheap. I understand.
My diagram.
It makes for a good diagram.
Okay, so let's go through the options. All right, this is the first one. This is if we choose to do a lease option. This one is probably available within the next 6 to 8 months. It could be built out in order to accommodate 4 or 5 stalls, depending on how we do it and how we end up laying out the just the architectural. And we see some drawings. The way that it's currently laid out is the bathrooms are on the left side. However, we have been in discussions that we could flip that. And we could have the bathrooms on the little small portion to be able to move quicker in some areas. But it is an option that we can turn it around. It just really depends on going through the Historic District Review Board and things like that. And the cost of the lease, it's after talking to the landlords, we had the discussion today, we don't know what the cost is. So we threw out the highest cost, which is $7,500 a month. Most likely will be much lower than that. But we probably comfortably somewhere between $5,500 a month to $7,500 a month. So that's projected over 10 years. I want to do the math so you can see what we've invested in this. It could be between $660,000 to $900,000 that we've invested. Now, they would agree that we could come up with a 10-year lease-to-own program, and then we would determine how much money would be attributed, that would go towards the purchase cost. But we don't know that. And they would also be willing to make this a fair win-win for the town. That's the goal. It could be a win for them. It could be a win for us. So that's something to be determined because they're still trying to work out this, and we're just not ready to. If there's a direction from the town council to say move on that, then that would be our next step, is to talk through and create a lease agreement that we would agree with. The same thing that we did with Trinity.
So there was no build-out cost for us, obviously.
Yeah, so we could do it one of 2 ways. We could do no build-out for us, or we build out. And the lease would reflect that in the monthly payment. So there's 2 ways. So again, we'd have to look at the details of that.
How would we know it's hard to make a decision not knowing the lease to buy and then what the purchasing price would be in the end.
I know. However, what they confirmed to me is when we do our lease agreement, they would project once we go to the 10 years, if we decide to buy it, it would be amortized so that we know what it would be sold for. Well, it would be offered to us what we could buy it for.
They
So
would do
it
that
would
now, 10 years out?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Greg?
We would do the annual appreciation, so we agreed upon it, sorry.
No, I asked him to come in case that happens.
We would be willing to agree on purchase price with an annual appreciation rate based off of today. We're not trying to,
That's important.
Yeah, it is.
Perfect.
That's an important, thank you
Yeah.
so much. That makes all the difference.
And this one is a 6 to 8 month build to then move into be ready timeline?
Correct.
I guess we might as well just start taking the microphone around. Let's just open it up because we're getting into specific things.
So can you tell me who you want to recognize?
I guess let's start with Beach Street.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. I guess I'll stand. I'm Tiffany Gelzenis. I was stuck to that chair, so if you heard that. Yeah, Tiffany Gelzenis. We are the, GTG Holdings is the name of our company. We own 11 Peach Street. So as far as responding to 6 to 8 months, we've been renovating properties since 2014, and we can move a lot faster than the town can. Sorry, no offense. But it's just the truth. We can. We are going through, the contingency on that is going to be how quickly the decision can be made. We have already started the process of getting, drawings done, those kinds of things. I do want to clarify that I don't know that it is an option for the bathrooms to be on the left side. It really needs to be on the right side. So just a clarification there. And I think that's a better layout for the town as well. We would create an ADA entrance, hopefully. Did you like that? Katie's my friend, by the way. We're friends now. We would create an ADA entrance in the right side addition would be the goal. So it would be aesthetically pleasing ramp, covered porch area going into where that window is now in the addition on the right side. So my understanding after a lot of research and conversations is it needs to be historically appropriate, but that section of the property isn't historically relevant because it's an addition. So that would be the idea there. The other side, because of moving the bathrooms to the right side, the other side could actually be 2 offices, or maybe it could be a conference room, depending on the size of the conference room that you wanted. And we would renovate the property to restore it to its model 126 Sears Home beauty. So the goal is for it to look exactly, well, as close as it can be to what it should be as part of our town. We want to reopen that front porch and make it just really inviting. The windows are all going to be restored. They're actually in really great condition. And I think it'd just be a really charming little piece of the town. Anything else?
No, that's great. Thank you.
If the option of not having, because we talked about taking the visitor center away, would there be an option to actually have even more than 4 bathrooms?
It's got 5 bathrooms, doesn't it?
It does have 5 bathrooms. So there'd be 4 bathrooms on the right side and another bathroom on the left side. The original concept that we had discussed was being able to provide access for a longer period of time to the restroom area and lock off the visitor center area. So that was part of the design concept. So 4 of the bathrooms would be accessible for whatever duration the town wants them to be accessible. The other bathroom would be accessible whenever the visitor center is open. So there would be 5 bathrooms. Is there an option to have additional bathrooms? It would be, I should probably let G answer this question.
That would be if the visitor center isn't there. So if we don't have to build out because we're talking about moving that to another location, can we use that additional space to make it, instead of a 5 bathroom, make it a 8 bathroom and maybe a mother's room or something like that type of space?
So nothing but bathrooms.
It's doable. I think we could do, let's see, on the left side, 1, 2. So it could probably be maybe up to 8. And we essentially the right side of the building would be the 488 restrooms. The left side would probably be non-ADA compliant, and we kind of locked in by the existing room sizes, just do the historical reno. But I think that'd be, if you're not trying to use visitor center, use it as a visitor center. I think it could be increased to more than
Just
5 restrooms essentially.
But do we need, I guess, to me, this concept is natural visitor center and bathroom combined in the location of it and the layout of it. It just screams to that in a place that guests and residents and visitors can go in and have an opportunity, whether it's, you know, this is how you get to this or what have you. I'm not downplaying the museum piece, but I think that this particular option fits naturally, and I don't think we need more restrooms than that.
I don't either. I actually agree with you
Yeah.
1000%. Think this is absolutely the way to go
Yeah.
with having it in the foot traffic, you know, planned area of our historic district. My concern is that if, as a council, we're thinking that we want to separate the two, I still think the opportunity to have bathrooms in a historic building in our historic district, that opportunity is not going to come up again, I would imagine,
Yeah.
as a possibility for us to be making a decision on in quite some time. And it's a unique opportunity for us to move forward on that. And if we're saying we want to keep the visitor center separated, then let's look at this as what else could we do with that space?
But I don't
Rather
think
than
when Rick brought it up, it was that we wanted to keep it. It was the question of could we keep
Sure,
it?
agreed.
Are they mutually connected
And
in
yes.
some
One
way?
other thing I think needs to be addressed, because I didn't bring it up, but if we're doing a leased option, Main Street does pay rent, and I think that would help reduce the rent on our end too.
Yep.
So that needs to be at least considered.
Yes.
Do I hear from more residents?
Please.
A visitor center with no
Microphone,
parking?
microphone.
A visitor center with no parking? Where are people going to park?
Well,
AJ's is going to be upset when we start.
this particular location,
Right.
people are in town, I mean,
Well,
you
yeah,
know
but
what I
that's
mean?
what I'm
People are
saying.
in town, they're gonna walk to it. There
I
may be
like
one or two
having the
people that come.
Right. I
Yes.
personally like the visitor center as they're driving into town. It's just, like you said, where you used to live. It's just a welcoming thing. I don't mind having the bathrooms here, that's fine too. But I think the visitor center should be as you're approaching town and it's just easier to get to. They can stop and get maps and et cetera, but once you get into town, I think it's tough because, well, for one thing, they're gonna have to find a place to park.
Can you address the parking situation? Will this building have its own
Well,
parking?
parking is so tough in town as it is.
Right, so would this building have any dedicated parking spaces within the footprint of the?
It would have an ADA one.
That was not part of the original scope. There are 2 parcels behind this building. I think there could be some issues, I don't know. I mean, there is curbing already there to be able to drive across the sidewalk, but that's also a very busy sidewalk, so I don't know if you guys would actually want that. So I'm going to say that was not part of the original scope, and that is my answer. If it's something that we want to discuss further, then we can possibly figure that out, but
We would have to have an ADA spot because accessibility.
Say that to the,
There are 2 ADA spots right at the corner of Peach and Mason. That was put in.
That would accommodate that building. Or that would take care of.
That would take care of that building. But
Like I said, I think the location's great for everything but the visitor center.
I think we have some challenges with the Bloxham Station as well, as far as visibility and people seeing that and parking there as well. I mean, the Bloxham Station, which is what I mean, that it's set back. Yes, there are some visibility things when people coming in as far as, and, you know, not everyone coming into town.
Says visitor center right there, they don't.
Yeah, but not everyone coming in is who we want to have the visitors center. People are in town and want to know, where should I go eat? I mean, if you think about how welcome centers and visitor centers are used, it's where do I go, where can I get this? It's those types of things. It doesn't have to be in the beginning of the town, I don't think.
For our town, walkability of the visitor center is, I think, paramount, because you're not gonna park, walk in, go
Right.
back again.
Yeah.
Most of the
golf
ones on
cart,
the shore are come into the
Golf cart ability.
Yes.
I mean, really, most people in the middle of town are walking,
Yeah.
hiking, or golf carting.
Yes.
There are very few people that are in the middle.
And you have a bird's eye view. You know that, don't you?
Hey, can I use your bathroom?
You haven't heard that before, have you? Please, next.
Sure.
Hi. First, thank you guys for doing a town hall. It's very refreshing. This is, I think, the second town hall since Rick has been town manager, and it's very nice. We had the one about the municipal building. It's nice to be able to participate in your conversation. I come to a lot of your work sessions, and I feel like the only difference between this and a work session is that we get to say something. And you notice there's a lot more people here than your typical work session. So that said, it would be nice if we could talk a little bit earlier than right at the very end after you've done so much deliberation, because it felt like the point of this was to get a little bit of our input. So anyways, that said, I do agree that I think it would be nice to have the visitors center coming into town and to get a little bit more foot traffic to support the museum.
This way, hang on.
Actually, what I was going to say was
Okay.
I don't think we should have parking there. I think it creates a problem. People driving in are going to pull in, park, go to the visitor center, and then leave their car there all day long. I mean, if they're looking for a place to park, they park their car and they walk to the center. If we put Main Street there instead of the visitor center, is that adequate and still keep the visitor center out by the railroad?
In order to run the visitor center wherever it's located.
They have to be together.
Main Street, is the staffing that was going to do that. The model that was originally designed was to be like the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel Welcome Center. To be an official Virginia Welcome Center, you have to be open a certain amount of hours, and that comes with then. So Main Street will have to hire some key people, and then the rest is volunteers. It can't just be volunteer run.
I don't see utilizing a building like that just for bathrooms.
Yeah.
I think it needs to have another purpose.
So the visitor center has to be run by Main Street?
No.
Well,
If
we
there's
could hire
someone else that's,
people, but-
I don't know who that someone else is that's going to come in and
Just has to be
staff
open a
it.
certain amount of hours is what it is. That's all. It can be run by anybody.
Yeah.
We can
So
hire our own
the
people.
Welcome Center that the museum does, is only open
Right.
May to October.
Right.
4 hours a day. To be an official Virginia Virginia Welcome Center, which means you can have brochures and people send them to all of that, completeness of that has to be a certain amount of hours, a certain many days a week. And the concept, it certainly doesn't have to be that. Concept was that Main Street is already providing a service to the town and has a paid employee, and how you would work that out. It just was a natural fit.
This is my part.
If there's some magic money somewhere that we want to hire someone else, sure, that can happen.
Oh, but you had a great, he said raise taxes.
Yeah.
All right, all right, Chris.
Put words in my mouth.
Karen,
The original person about the potties. This seems like a great idea, 11 Peach Street. The two things we see that are probably barriers to it is, and they've already said that the 6 to 8 months, because I knew how long it took our building to be, but we're private. And then the cost. Is that the two things that are keeping us? Is that if it comes in 6 to 8 months, well, that's faster than most of the other concrete buildings, okay? But the cost is significant, and so that has to really be determined. So this seems like a great idea, but those two things really, are.
Especially
those
if
are the two
there's
things
a
that
lease to
really-
buy option.
What?
So especially if there's a lease to buy. I mean, if
Right,
if
but-
that money is investing toward, not all of it, obviously, that's not how it works, but
Right.
if there's something going toward
Yeah,
a
but that may be,
purchase.
again, that could be a very small number, could be a very big number.
Yeah.
Could be something in between, and the town in 10 years, do they have that money to buy it?
Yeah.
And has it not changed hands or anything else like that? Okay, that's
What are the obstacles in place that are kind of would keep us from getting, just like with the railroad property purchase, like it's hard to consider your options when you don't really, you have a pretty wide range here of potential cost for the actual lease and eventual value of the property down the road. Like, are we holding you guys up based on what we actually want? Are you guys just in the process of working that out, or?
He's going to say no. So we kind of, we were full steam ahead and figuring out all the things. We do have preliminary numbers from a contractor that were in line with what our expectations were, which is why I was able to kind of, in talking to Rick today, expand on a range versus just the worst case scenario, which is what we had kind of talked with you guys about before. And I had a small panic attack when I saw that number on the notes. I was like, dude, that's worst case, not, but anyhow, so as far, we have decided to pursue historical tax credits. So that is one thing, and we're at phase 2, which is the submit your detailed scope of work phase. So we sent over an updated plan to Bob with the bathroom layout changing a little bit, because now our limitations with the layout with pursuing the historical tax credits, which also allows us to give you guys better pricing, is that we can't affect the corridor or the main primary spaces. So the corridor and the bathrooms, so that's why the left side option isn't an option any longer. So that being said, that process is 30 to 60 days to get that approval, and then we can be gearing up and ready to go. But I need a pretty concrete idea of what you guys want as far as planning goes before I submit, because once we submit, to change that would be a very difficult process.
You would simultaneously be going through our Historic District Review Board process?
So my understanding, after reading documentation, is that once you have approval from the state and national, then you just have to go through a minor administrative approval.
Right.
Because their approval is more strenuous.
Yeah.
Do you know what the pool size is this year for the historic tax credits? And did they give you a percentage ratio yet? Knowing what you would get out of it? It changes every year, depending on how many people apply.
It was, I mean, I'll have to look into that more, but it was listed as state credit was 25% and federal is 20.
Right.
So. Yeah.
That's down since Kelly's did theirs.
Yeah.
15 years ago. Yeah, it was
We might need a chat.
18, 19 years ago.
It's been a lot of research.
So,
Oh, awesome, yeah.
Rick, this is one long-term, pre-existing, permanent structure.
Correct.
There are, in your packet, you've got another pre-existing building. Could you kind of run us through the comparables between the two?
Okay, yeah. So the other one that
Is there any more comments on Peachtree at the moment before we start building on? I just want to make sure everybody's had a chance.
Quick thing, time frame. I don't think that'll be an issue because we're almost at the end of the summer season.
Great.
This will go into winter.
Great.
And be done by next summer.
I'm sorry.
That's Good Friday.
But we still have the silver bullet to hold us over.
It freezes, I believe.
I apologize for cutting you off. I just wanted to catch Greg before you weren't dismissed. And, no, just before you leave, and I know we're not discussing kind of some of the portable options right now, but just given your industry expertise, can you just briefly talk about kind of the silver bullet right now, you've told me before, really wasn't the best quality option out there in portable units, that some of these other ones that are more similar to what is they're like actually permanent restrooms at restaurants like Chick's across the bay, and what resale value might look like if we were to need to do something like this in concert with maybe something more grandiose or long-term, that kind of stuff before you leave. I was just going to try to grab you.
Well, the one y'all have now is just an older model, so, and they've come along, like cars, they've come a long ways, and I think that's older than 5 years old, I believe. But, I mean, it may have been an old one
It's
you
probably
purchased.
6. It was right
But-
when I started.
I'm sorry?
It's probably 6 years. It was right when
Yeah,
I got on
but
council.
the newer ones now are, I mean, they're better. What Rick was saying about the RV toilets, that's what they are. It is an oil RV toilet. And, I mean, the toilets you can change for about $250. The whole toilet. I mean, I do it all the time. Well, you can do a better version of a toilet, but there's still an RV toilet. I mean, what other questions, I mean, what do y'all,
So I was just trying to get you to sort of say that some of these, it wouldn't be just a bigger version of what we already have. It would probably be a more reliable, more efficient unit perhaps than what we bought. Because I think in our minds, we think of like, well, I don't want just twice the problem that we have now.
Right.
If it's a 4-stall, and I don't know, the flushing mechanisms, are they just as
well,
apt to break as the
it's
old
still the
ones?
same flushing mechanism. It's
Okay.
still an RV
Yeah.
toilet, whether you
That's
know,
what I
you,
thought.
either way, that's the only way it works, is an RV toilet. It's got a foot pedal that opens a gate that
Yeah.
allows the stuff to go down.
And someone earlier had asked, well, couldn't we just lease something short-term if we were building something permanent? And you had sort of told me that, you know, the lease pricing, you'd pretty quickly be better
Yeah,
off
for, I mean, you know, for
purchasing.
like a 5-star, we get, I mean, $2,200 for a weekend. So it wouldn't take long to accumulate some money.
Yeah.
What about a resale? Let's say we purchased it and after 8 months, we have what we need and we sell it. What's the resale?
Yeah, you could definitely do that. There's a big resale on it. We bought one last year out of Maryland that the resale was, you
Right.
know, really good on it.
Yeah. Because the attractive part about upgrading is that if one is clogged, there's another option. And I think that's what's been the issue, is because there's really just one each. There's not a backup plan.
Yeah, like the ones that
Right.
Rick were talking about, like a 5-stall, usually have a stall for a men and a urinal, and then the women's has 3 stalls. The same, Moore's has the same one that they use. If you've been to events,
Yep.
that's a 5-stall.
We use
That's
it
a
for
Lang
short
trailer. It's the same thing that I think Rick I know Rick got a price for those, but there's other brands out there. It's like a Ford, a Chevrolet, and a Dodge. I mean, depends on what you want.
Don't want to dodge.
I think though it's important, if you go to an upgraded trailer, it's gotta have ADA.
Yeah.
No 3-2, non-ADA.
Yes, exactly.
Do those exist?
There's a big difference though when it comes to an ADA and a trailer, and an ADA though. I mean, you see ADA trailers and they're usually a 2-stall because the ADA takes up so much space. You couldn't turn a 5-stall trailer into an ADA with a ramp, like you were saying, Rick. The door's not wide enough to get in. You don't have enough room in the stall to get a wheelchair in there. ADA, you gotta have all
5x5.
those.
Need a 5-foot turning radius.
Yes, 5x5.
So we would have to keep the porta potty. the
Yeah,
ADA
you have to
porta
have the ADA porta potty to be ADA compliant. I mean, you can buy an ADA trailer, but like you said, it's a lot more money, and it's gonna, you know, the size of the trailer's gonna be big, but it's gonna cut down on your number of bathrooms.
So you buy 2 trailers, you buy
An ADA.
5, you buy 1-stall ADA.
And we could have
Loaded,
bought a building by that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's an instead of, it's just like, is there an immediate solution that then has some resale value if we do something long-term? Anyway, before you left, I know you know a lot about it.
You know, y'all talked about, you know, the porta johns don't get clean. I mean, you could buy a porta john, ADA porta john yourself and clean it ourselves once every day. I mean, the town could do that. I mean, that's not, you know, I mean, you could buy a tank that slides in the back of a truck that, I mean, we've got on that are transportable in the back of a pickup truck. They don't hold the capability that like a regular pump truck holds, but I mean, it'll hold 300 gallons.
Are you saying that then the town pumps it?
The town could pump it. I mean, the town could do it, they could buy 5 road.
Well,
My facial expressions are very clear on that one. I'm like, ooh.
yeah, but I mean, we
There's
used,
a lot of options.
and we used to deal with, Moore's used to come dump over by Rayfields all the time until we stopped them doing that. They had
What
to
do you
go
mean they
across because they paid to dump their trucks
Where?
behind Rayfield. It was a long time ago.
Years ago, public was experimented with it. It's a dangerous thing to do because you have highly concentrated
Stuff.
septic and can
throw bugs into distress of the plant. And
Oh, right, I remember,
The real way you do it is you have to dilute it in a holding tank,
Yeah.
bring it into the plant. It's just-
Oh, yeah.
Dumping it into the sewer is not what you do.
Yeah, but you can dump at different places. I mean, like HRSD charges 16 cents a gallon to dump waste.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
We're here.
No, I understand that. I mean, HRSD does have facilities over here. I mean, there are places to get rid of it. I mean,
You can always check out what American Water says.
Yeah.
yeah, campground, yes. Cherrystone's got it. Sunset Beach has got it.
Greg, when you,
It's more public works.
I think we'll wait
Yes. Yeah, it would need to be a contracted services.
I have a question for you, Greg.
equipment.
When you're saying, Greg, that it's an RV toilet, are you, that's okay, when you're saying it's an RV toilet, does that definition essentially mean that it's not really meant to be used for high volume?
It's not ideal for high volume.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that's really clear, that is
I think
the,
it's the only option for a trailer. I mean, you can't have
Right.
Ceramic.
right.
And so,
I mean,
yeah.
you can get ceramic RV toilets, we have them, but, I mean, you can't have, it's got,
The flushing piece or the disposing
Yes.
piece of it is what is not meant for high capacity, high volume.
And that's why
people don't treat it.
their intensity for an event is.
Right.
Well, that's not gonna change with any kind of toilet.
No, no.
That's the end of my interrogation of your.
You
guys have a
may
good night.
leave now.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, where are we, Rick?
Okay,
Midterm
so,
number 2.
yeah, we're gonna go to number 2. We're moving fast. I do appreciate all the comments, so it is helpful for us to hear from you as we think through this, because, yeah, I mean, I could have put a criteria as parking. That's a big deal to make sure that we have parking. You know, we wanna, it's important for our people to get there. All right, so the first one, or the second one now, is we're looking, oh, wait, hold on. Did you want to look at another comparable one? Okay, so go to the very end. There is long-term permanent. It's 300D Mason. If you could find that one for me.
Is that in our packet?
Yeah.
At the end.
It's almost at the very end.
Do you have it, you don't have it in the slides, do you?
Yeah, it's on there. No, it's a number I gave you the documents.
Okay, that's a whole other thing.
Problem is you gotta put toilets together. You gotta dig up the time. Rick, did all these include site work, all the permanent buildings?
Site work?
Yeah.
No. Some of them do, some of them don't.
Well, that's, especially if we keep it over by, if we did over by the
Well-
train tracks, that's gonna
Well,
jack it right up.
yeah, but it depends on if we put it where the Canoni property is, where it's at.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
If it's around where it's at right now, just 50 feet, that's close where we can still tie in. But if it's gonna be by the car, the rail car, then that's gonna be out of price.
it's gonna jack it up.
It'll be the
Because
same
it's
as what we had
500,000
before.
For that site work before,
No. Yeah.
200,000 something.
Yeah, it's at the
Maybe
very end.
100.
Keep going.
Is this way small?
It's Mason Avenue.
There,
Right?
stop.
Yeah.
Keep going,
Brick buildings
right
on
there.
Mason Avenue.
Yep. All right.
I
Right.
really can't see from here, that's all.
Okay, so this one would be something comparable, because it's a building already existing. This is 300D Mason Avenue. It's a storefront. And so, I don't have a diagram of what the building looks inside, but you can look into it. There's a picture of what it shows. It's just an open space. We could easily there's 2 of them. So there's one beside each other. One could be a visitor center, the other could be a bathrooms. Or we choose not to do visitor center. We choose visitor center, go up somewhere else. This becomes bathrooms. So it's got the space to do enough 4 to 6 bathrooms in it. Each one of these. Each.
Right.
Could
Yeah.
you put bathrooms in an existing storefront?
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to cut up the slab.
That many?
Yeah.
I'm a little uncomfortable with taking, business opportunity space out of commission.
Well, one has the,
Oh, yeah.
No, they both do, oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry, you're right, one no longer has a business in it, but don't we hear that there's limited business space in town?
There's only two, those are two spots.
I'm so sorry?
You got to say trade off with
11 Peach hasn't been in commission for how many years?
There's residential too.
Lived in it.
Whose spaces are these?
Yeah, it is. It's the same problem.
This is on, this is on Mason Avenue,
Right.
right?
But but as far as like location, it's perfect for public restroom. You know, it's visible. We can have signage everywhere. I'm just giving you options of
Yes,
like.
yes.
I'm not saying do this. I'm just saying here's an option.
I
for
mean, it's
you
an
to consider.
interesting option.
Yeah, it is.
Very
It's-
much. I was like,
to consider. And if you go down, Katie, go to the next one. This is another one beside it. And that one's got a little awning. You could actually put visitor center, or you could put bathrooms, public bathrooms. So it's just another option. The cost is 200. Go back up. The cost is $289,000 to purchase this.
Someone said that was just sold this week. She just got the,
Well,
the girl that's in there is got
Amanda?
until the end of the year to,
Oh.
yeah.
Amanda.
yeah, I got a call today saying that it was in the works and it's not finalized.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I'm telling you, because I said, should I take it off? And they said, no, don't take it off your list
so there's
yet.
two that are
There's
available?
two. This one right here has a potential buyer, but
Uh-huh.
they have not agreed upon it yet. The
Okay.
one before this one is still available. Does not have a buyer. This one does. So this one most likely will be sold. So it is most likely it will be.
Right.
But they haven't agreed to
Okay.
terms yet.
I gotcha.
So again, it just shows you options. It's $289,000. We would probably have to put in another 100 in order to retrofit this for bathrooms.
Or more.
Or more.
Or more, 100 plus. But that would be, 389, 400, 450 for restrooms. Okay? I'm just showing
Yeah,
you.
no, yeah.
It's sticker shock, but this is what, now we're looking for our permanent solution.
Sure.
It jumps significantly to a high cost.
Sure.
Okay, so now, do you want to stay on the permanent solutions? Or do you want to go back to the temporary solutions?
Permanent.
Permanent, okay. So Katie, will you go back now?
Reminder.
Start
temporary
at
What's going on outside?
the Telluride single. Keep going.
I cannot see it.
Keep going. I know where it's at. Keep going.
Gosh. You're right.
Okay, one more. All right, stop. Okay, so Telluride, this is a company that they do modular bathrooms. They have two kinds in this style. One is one building and the other is two buildings. They do not have a picture of the one building because most people get the two buildings. They do come into one building, but it's called the Telluride, but it's a single building that has 6 restrooms. They're all unisex ADA. So you can have 3 on one side and 3 on the other side. But that's what this is. This one is the 2 building because you can get a canopy. This is all extras that you can get. But if you look at the cost, Katie, go down a little bit. It shows the cost right there. The total cost of one build out, and you can see they have a crane that comes in, and it's $445,000. Now that also is putting on a slab that you would have poured already done. So that's an additional cost.
Why does it include a crane rental and on-site installation supervision? Does that mean we're installing it?
No, they do. They
Okay.
do. We're paying for that installation.
But they must rent the.
Yeah, it just.
Yeah, you and Bill are going to be out there managing the.
Yeah, but this one, it's professionally installed. That's built into the cost when I did the estimate on this.
Gotcha.
And this is obviously something we wouldn't be able to do in the historic district.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, this is not compatible with the historic district.
Well,
Is it?
Katie,
The style of this one one may be a challenge, because again, new construction has different standards. But it can't be so, out of its element. It can be distinctive of this current, time frame in which it's being constructed in. So representative of today's architecture, yes, that is allowed, but it also needs to be somewhat sympathetic and cohesive within the neighborhood in which it's being placed.
And some of the other ones, as you go further, look more like they could fit in.
Right, there are others that might be
This
more
one is-
appealing from an aesthetic.
Yeah, I mean, I love that building, but it's,
Yeah, it's just an
like a
example.
mountain. kind of.
Yeah, it does.
Telluride.
It's called Telluride.
Telluride. There's a reason it got that name.
Go to the next one. The next one's called Keystone, which is another Colorado name.
Up or down?
Down. Right there. Okay, so this one shows, yeah, it's a modular built, and they bring it in. It's got 5 stalls, and so part of them are ADA, some are not, but it still meet our need as, you know, providing that kind of space. There's a layout there. This one also, it's the same company that brings them on a truck. It just shows it's one building, and it's got awnings that you know, I did the maximum upgrade on this, just to show you what it cost. Total cost is $304,000. So if you think about it, it's like it brings in just the bathrooms, and we can put it on the slab where we want it, and then it.
All right, but it's not just a slab, we gotta run lines to and from, right?
Yep.
Yeah, what I'm saying, if we put it on the Canoni property, we have a line already there that we can tie into.
It's already existing
Yeah,
there?
the Silver Bullet works off of.
No, not the Silver Bullet. Is this where the Silver Bullet would be?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only property that.
It would
that
go east.
Right.
Yeah, we'd have to move down.
Correct.
The site development is more than just a slab. You have to have, you gotta have sidewalks and.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because you can make it ADA accessible, but they have to be able to get there from the parking
So
lot.
do these,
So,
do these total costs include the site development?
That's just
No.
a building.
So
No.
estimate on site development?
I mean, it's not far from where we have to tie in, so it would be much cheaper than it would be at the trail trail car.
Sure.
Than that one. I don't know, we haven't got estimates
Okay.
for any of that. So it's just
I
trying to
think
do some.
no matter what we're looking at, I should have said this in the beginning, we really should be looking at ADA or at least unisex bathrooms. There's just no need to go to have urinals and stalls and all of that. We just need unisex bathrooms.
Yeah.
That way you don't have the whole, like you expect, at the park, you know, there's a line for the women, 18,000
Okay, so if we want to
deep.
look at the unisex, okay, we can go, if you go down, we'll skip the precast concrete. That one's probably, that one right there, you want to pause for a second. This one is a concrete building. It's probably not the most aesthetic looking for what we're looking at, so I present it because it's a cheaper option. I don't think it would fly.
Move along,
But
move
moving
along,
along.
move along.
But I gave it to you, so you can see it.
You did.
This one, I think, is a legitimate one. This one's, it's got 4 ADA.
Yeah.
It's a kit. Okay, and what that means is you purchase all the materials, all the engineering, and then a contractor puts it together. What the difference between a contractor doing a stick built and this is a contractor would then go purchase the materials, and then you're paying an upcharge for what he just bought. This one, you remove that. You're buying all the materials up front and then hiring someone to put it together. So it's a different, you're saving significant when it comes to labor. We already know what it is. It's just the labor period, not materials. So we would be purchasing that. That's what these kits do.
Some of the holdup, or what, refresh my memory, Tammy, you probably know this the best, but when we sent out to bid for the other bathrooms by the train, the issue was we almost couldn't even get someone to bid on
Right,
it, right?
right.
So my concern is with something like this, if they're not getting the upcharge profit on materials, now it's even that much less money that they would be making for contracts, and how difficult would it be for us to find someone to even come and bid this?
Well, you would get a general contractor to do it, and it would alter their per hour rate, just to.
But still taking somebody off of a building project and how they're backed up. I mean, it's a legitimate, we would, if we decided to go this angle, I think we would need to have concretely a builder in mind that had made the commitment, that we would know what the cost would be. I don't think we could.
I estimated, however, this is most likely not the true estimate, because you have to have someone who understands, you know, the labor rate here. That they say on there 1 to 1.5% is your construction cost. However, we're in the Eastern Shore, so this is new for me. I lived in a resort area, which was expensive for construction, but this is much higher than what I'm used to in a resort area. So it really doesn't make sense to me of why our labor is so expensive, but yet our wages are so low.
Did you have a Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel where you were?
No, I didn't have that. So, okay, that one would be a legitimate one because it comes with what you're talking about, Tammy. I don't know if I have any others that would meet that. I'm looking through real quickly. So the only other thing too is what Bob kind of worked on. If you go straight down, I'm skipping some that I don't think that qualify based on. We're looking at just ADA unisex bathrooms. So if you look at the very bottom, keep going, keep going, keep going. Stop. Okay, this one was kind of going back to the original concept that we looked at. You know, instead of doing it in that location near the train car, we do it where we're talking about on a Canoni property. This one was going to be, you know, 600 to 700,000 is what they estimated.
Who's they?
HB.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Except we got a quote for 1.2.
Again, we don't know what the labor cost, the construction cost is.
6 to 700 is just for the bathrooms.
Right.
Just the restrooms.
Right.
So that one, they could be ADA, but you're seeing the cost. This is complete stick built. This is not a kit. And so that one is, it's out. I mean, it's really expensive. So
I have such champagne taste.
I know it.
This is
But you know, that looks so much like the museum for
yeah,
the visitor center.
it does, but that
it's not in the right place.
Well, it's not in the right place, but it also the structure of that building. I mean, I think there are going to be some issues there as far as heating and air and roof and things down the road.
Well, you've seen the options.
But that's why we built it. That's why we designed the other one, is because that look.
I get you.
That was the whole idea.
Now I see why this is taking a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's not easy. Every situation becomes a challenge in itself. So I would greatly appreciate direction. I'd love to solve this problem, but it almost looks like it's a two-way. We gotta have to solve the temporary, and we have to figure out the long term. And we can do this. We need some synergy on direction.
I think we need to solve the long-term permanent building, like let's make a decision on that and let's start executing toward that, because we've kicked it down the road for so long. The community is probably sick of hearing us say bathrooms are coming. You know?
I think at this point we do a temporary solution, just get something in and then go to Tiffany and their property right there and work towards it. I mean, that seems like the best and fastest and best for the community. I mean, that's what fits Cape Charles. I mean, it's already, and it's going to be historic.
I mean,
More
if we
so
can,
than
if we
anything
can
else.
look at a temporary, that as Greg said, this updated, you know, obviously 6 years after the original, and has multiple stalls, so that if there is a backup, that there's another at least unit that's available. But we have to commit to, I think we have to commit to a much more aggressive cleaning schedule, and we've got to fit that into our budget as far as staffing. I think in the high season, you know, 6 times a day is not too much to eliminate some of the issues, you know.
Okay, so that's a good takeaway for me to hear.
Yeah.
Up the cleaning, because go from 3+. We're gonna, you know, we'll have a meeting to discuss how we'll go maximum. We'll see how many, what's maximum for them to do. So that will solve that. But then now we're talking about a temporary trailer. Yes.
I think we do it like Greg was saying, where we do the 5-unit and then an ADA unit separate. Get 2 units.
But did I hear that was that was more cost effective to buy it.
No.
Oh,
he-
yeah.
I've heard.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
Because you do get the resale.
It's temporary to us, we would resell, or
So there's
keep
two
one to
things.
use for events.
He said two things.
Yeah.
He said we can purchase an an additional one, or purchase an ADU porta potty and clean it ourselves.
That's,
No.
I don't like
No, I
that.
don't like that
I don't like
idea.
that.
I don't think we should be asking for
It's,
it.
now you're looking at pumping and doing all that.
No, no, no,
But
no.
what about purchasing something, because that's gotta be a lot of money, to purchase a 5-stall unit is how much?
68 to 72,000.
But it's
For us
something,
to be able to use for what, max 12 months?
but he said the resale is pretty good on those.
He said he just bought one.
Or
Well,
we
see,
look
but
at
here's
it,
here's the
we
other thing,
use it
though.
for event stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we could do that.
We
We could
move it-
easily
yeah.
put that unit up at Central Park or at the beach.
Yeah.
And then now we have another
Yeah.
unit, 5
I mean, I think
units.
it's a good investment. It could be north,
We
you
could
know,
put it
north
at
end of the
north
beach.
end, or something.
July
where-
4th, it could be on the
I think it's
street.
great if it means we eliminate, if we can put it at the beach and it means we.
Oh, a separate one we were saying.
They'd say, we were saying a separate actual unit for the ADA,
But
because
if we,
he said it.
if we purchase it and
Right.
then use it down at the beach and get rid of some of the porta potties,
Yeah.
then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Okay.
definitely could be.
So, but I think we're saying the, how many, 5-stall unit
Yeah.
and an ADA
Yeah, so let me.
trailer,
I just
right?
Yeah.
I think
Greg
that's
clarified
important.
something else too. An ADA is such a big unit, then you're
Yeah.
not gonna get 5 stalls with an ADA.
But how perfect,
Do a 5 unit and then.
And then
just
eight-
a
yeah.
one ADA,
Yeah.
buy both.
but with that ADA, we can use so many places.
Yeah.
That is,
Yeah.
that is an investment that is just
Also,
perfect.
on those trailers, okay, you gotta remember, wherever you move it else, you gotta have sanitary
Yeah.
and water hookup.
Yeah,
So you just gotta have that dropped in your,
the location.
other locations.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the ones that he was showing me,
She qualifies, we have to order it, so.
Right,
Okay.
Yeah.
And Central Park does too?
yeah.
Okay.
but they do, most of them, he was telling me, work both ways.
Yeah.
Right, you
You
have
can
to-
use them as a tank system if you
Especially if
want
it's a
to.
temporary location, like for a day or two
Yeah,
event.
all the ones I looked at do that.
Yeah.
They're both dual.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do to activate a plan?
Man.
Let's activate.
Can we vote? Can we motion? Are we ready for a motion?
Let's get together like next year.
Yeah.
Second that in motion.
Yes.
Can we,
What does the public think as far as this, our last kind of assessment?
So the idea on the floor right now is that the town purchases something to use temporarily right now,
A 5 unit.
a 5-unit.
5-unit and a handicap.
And an ADA.
And then they consider either reselling or moving them as needed for
Yep.
future town events.
Yep.
And then we ask these people to continue their plan and get a
Firm.
contract together and firm up stuff so that we can have a permanent, beautiful bathroom.
Yes.
Carol, you should run for town council.
Yes. I think that that is exactly,
I want to
could you make that a motion,
almost
ma'am?
done with it. Yeah.
Could you turn that into a motion?
So do I hear a motion for exactly?
Oh, wait, we've got one.
I've been so quiet the whole time.
You have.
Wow.
This has been fascinating, but in your motion, it has to be subject to, you don't know the real cost of any of this.
Correct. Absolutely.
You don't know the cost, with all due respect, of what this is gonna, if they're still happening, what that's gonna cost, what that contract is gonna look like. You don't know the cost of what your 5-unit plus 1, so endorsing subject to, I guess.
Is just a motion so that we can move forward and not have to wait till the 21st and then bring another motion. We can actually get going right now.
We can get
and
to
have
concrete things,
Town manager to negotiate.
yes.
that. hopefully
And
next
bringing
2
back
weeks
a
we have
final
something
vote
more
on the
concrete for
21st.
you to take to your historic so that it's planned and everything else.
And we do have some of
actually
these,
Move forward on a bathroom.
some of these pieces are here with pricing
Yeah.
already,
Yeah.
so.
Correct.
But I think that we give I move that we charge the town manager to move forward on a 5-unit temporary and a handicap temporary, as well as continue negotiations with 11 Peach, is that what it is?
11 people.
11 Peach, sorry, Peach Street, so that we're set up to vote on the August 21st meeting.
I second.
Will you have it for the 21st meeting? I heard tax credits, I'm not sure what I'm gonna get, and so are we gonna have enough input to talk about 11 Peach?
Yeah, I think I would ask them, how long is it gonna take you? Can you be ready in that time? How long does it take you?
For pricing?
Yeah.
In that time period?
2 weeks from tonight.
21st.
Well, when will we have the layout for you guys?
Rick?
We can talk tomorrow.
Okay.
Me and Bob will talk to you tomorrow.
Okay.
So we have a second, we have a.
Yeah, we're in discussion now.
Yeah.
So the question
All right.
is it with or without a visitor center?
It
With.
It would be with.
So Karen,
Yes.
my question to you would be, would that suffice for Main Street offices and visitor center in that amount of space?
It's the bigger space.
The 11 Peach.
You're not gonna have
How much
Congress.
space exactly is that?
It's very similar to what was designed,
Yeah. It's just,
almost exact layout
yeah.
as what was before.
But it's got a separate office.
Yeah. Separate office, it's got a bathroom for the staff, it has a storage closet. It's very, very
No waiting
similar. A
in line.
little bit bigger, some square footages on the, maybe the visitor center part, something's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So you just got a bathroom.
And the conference room would not be there.
No.
Right. We've already talked about that.
It sure is a creepy ass thing.
All right, so,
Would
oh,
that costing also show, you had mentioned that Main Street pays rent to that building? Is that?
So it would show the $1,000,
Well, that's on the revenue side.
but the, yeah,
I
but.
don't see any hands. I don't see any hands.
So I
But the
don't feel like-
factor that you have to keep in mind is that Main Street then is also taking on staff, having to hire staff, as well as manage the volunteers. It's a whole new aspect of things that's going in there. So realistically, we really have to look at that $1,000 piece, unless we're going to give Main Street more money to manage that, the staffing piece of it. There, I mean, it's a,
Kind of was my point.
yeah.
We're saying Main Street's paying rent, but is that the town of Cape Charles is paying the rent for Main Street to be there, or are they then
Part of their
self-sufficient?
part of their budget.
Yeah, right now,
That's been like the-
part of the money that Main Street gets is used toward rent. I mean, they could use it toward anything, but they use it toward rent, storage units, staffing, and tripling that money, basically, by grants. Excuse me?
We're subsidizing Main Street to use that.
Well, Main Street is, I guess I have some issues with subsidizing word, because Main Street is, if we hired what Main Street does as far as the marketing person and the economic development person,
yeah, but
But that
are
is the
getting
money.
More money. Main Street's already getting the money from this council.
yes.
Yes, we
And
have.
and they're paying
And
rent.
$1,000 of it right now is used for rent.
From here to there.
But it's nothing different. If we don't do this, Main Street's gonna still get their money for the next
Well,
budget.
I just don't think that we have to find a space that has a company, Main Street. That's my thing.
No, if we want a visitor center, because Main Street's going to run that, that doesn't run for free.
Right.
So, but,
If it's the Virginia state rules.
Well, it still doesn't run for free. Somebody's got to manage those volunteers, and, I mean, that, to say that it's volunteers will just run it is a joke. I mean, that's just not realistic at all.
but for the purposes of next week, what we really need to do is activate the temporary ones. And we know that we want to move forward on the permanent side.
Correct. We can just
We can give that
do
a
this.
little bit more time to get
Yes.
flushed out more appropriately, but in the meantime, we can move forward with the flushed out. You like that? It's not that late. We can still move forward with the temporary solutions for our board meeting on the 21st, right?
The only reason why I didn't want to do that is because we always seem to push things out to
Yes.
where we could actually get two weeks and everybody moving and getting it done, and all of a sudden we have
Agreed.
I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Don't know if that's doable in 2
Yeah,
weeks.
it's not doable.
I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Hold on.
But you guys need that, I'm sorry, just for 1 second. You're gonna need it to know to move forward.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
So there is some constraints time-wise on the permanent layout, because they're not gonna submit their tax credit until they have assured what's the internal layout.
Correct, and that's
So
what
that
Bob
does
and them had
need to
just
get
had a
confirmed
discussion about, that he was
Okay.
saying that the layout's gonna actually be very similar to what it actually is, there won't be changes.
But is there any reason not to just try to go forward with the portable solution, since we're saying we'd like to keep them potentially anyway?
We can.
And whichever permanent solution we pursue, whether it's 11
Someone
or
needs to
something
make an
else.
addendum to the
But,
motion.
but do we have pricing on what the ADA unit by itself is? We don't.
Yeah, and that's what has to come, because we're gonna talk budget.
Yeah.
How much is it
Yeah,
for?
but he
That's what
wanted
we
to
need to
move
do.
forward, and I said we can't because we don't have
That
those.
meeting should deal with that.
Can I clarify to make sure I know what I'm tasked to do? Am I tasked to get the pricing so that next meeting you guys can make the decision?
Yes.
And that's it?
For the temporary.
For the
On the temporary.
Right.
Yeah,
right. That's what I'm
and
saying, for the, because there's
I
two
would say
temporaries we're
pricing
talking
and-
about,
and
5
timeline,
stall,
like
and then one
availability.
88
Well, right
stall.
now, you're not tasked with anything, because we have a motion on the table in a second, and we're discussing. And the motion's for both the temporary and permanent. So if we want to split them out, we need an addendum to the motion, splitting the two out. We need to vote on that, and then go back to the other one.
I just need to understand.
it is
Tiffany and
seconded.
G, can you give us the numbers by the 21st? Okay, so now we have to split them out.
So go ahead and make
But
the
did the
addendum.
motion, did the motion have a timetable associated with it?
Yes,
Did.
It did?
it did.
She wanted,
The 21st.
I amend my emotion, my motion. I second that emotion. I amend my motion to what?
Separate out.
Separate out the
temporary
temporary ADA and the 5-unit from the 11 Peach.
Is there a second there?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion on that? Not hearing any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Now, the motion on the table that has been seconded is the temporary. Is there any more discussion on that? Not hearing any, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that is unanimous. So
I'll
now,
quit for you.
for next meeting on the 21st, we will be discussing temporary
Trailers. 2.
porta potties. Or, sorry, not porta potties.
And in the interim, Rick will continue to work with 11 Peach on the details needed. If magically we have more information, then
As
that's
well as
wonderful.
Buffalo. And that could still come up on the 21st
Right.
meeting and bring it forward again, and we can make another motion.
Yeah.
Or could we do another meeting early in September, like this one, if,
September
Yeah, I think Libby has one brewing.
we do have that one.
We can just put it on the agenda.
Right, so we could potentially talk
Yeah.
11 Peach then, so that we're not kicking this until our September,
October.
October meeting?
Well, the 11 Peach decision was gonna come down to monthly pricing and total to buy.
Yeah, and
So
lease,
Wade draw us back to, okay, what other?
yeah, and lease, how much is lease to buy, like
Yes,
that,
but we
yeah.
should be able to get that.
All right, not hearing any other discussion, can I get a motion for adjournment?
I move we adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.